The following is an exclusive presentation of Turner Sports. In 1998, cable television's exclusive host for the 18th Olympic Winter Games from Nagano, Japan, and the 4th Goodwill Games from New York.
Charlotte weekend of NASCAR racing is here. Championship implications weighing heavily. Sunday's one of the big ones. Gordon, Martin, and Jarrett battle for the Winston Cup points lead as the 1997 season winds down. And today, they'll be fine-tuning those engines, tweaking those chassis in a no-holds-barred final hour shakedown called Happy Hour. But first, the series that's long been known as a stepping stone to Winston Cup finds its own identity. Busch Grand National 1996 champion Randy LaJoie, the dominant force, going for back-to-back titles. But Winston Cup drivers Martin, Jarrett, Labonte are out to steal his thunder. The bumper-to-bumper 300 next. They come from throughout the United States to the hub of American stock car racing, Charlotte, North Carolina, and to this fall festival of speed at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, which commences with 300 miles of Busch Grand National racing. It's the Bumper to Bumper 300 live on TBS. 43 drivers at the ready for today's race, and here are some of the exciting headline stories in today's event.
I'm Alan Bestwick. The championship story is the top of the day. Randy LaJoie leads Todd Bodine by 231 points with just 4 races remaining in the season. LaJoie has 2 options today. He can go all out for the win, a Charlotte win he very badly wants, or he can play it kind of conservative and try and protect as much of that lead as possible. Randy starting 29th on the grid. Randy, what's the strategy today? All out for the win or protect the point lead?
Well, if we got a good race car, I go to the front. And the crew's worked awfully hard to get me a good race car. If it's a good car, I'm going to the front. If not, I'll do the best we can.
Randy LaJoie. Now let's go up the grid farther to Mike Hogwood.
Kevin Schwantz is the 1993 World 500cc motorcycle champion. Now this superstar on 2 wheels wants to make a career on 4. His first Busch race ever, and he's qualified his car 9th today. Kevin says he has no pretense about running up front with the leaders. He wants to hang around, be there when this race is over, get some seat time. He wants a career in this Busch Series. Now to Steve Burns.
And it's been an up-and-down weekend for Todd Bodine, Mike. As you heard Alan Bestwick say, he trails Randy LaJoie by 231 points. They had problems when they first got here. The car just wasn't right, and they had to take a provisional starting spot. But they think they have it better. It was among the fastest cars in practice yesterday. But the weather's warmed up today. Can Todd Bodine go from 30th to the front? We'll find out soon. To a man who knows an awful lot about going to the front at Charlotte, Chad Little.
Thank you, Steve, and hello, everyone. I'm down here with another young driver to keep your eye on, and that's Tony Stewart. He's driving for a championship team, the number 44, and he's been given some pretty specific instructions today. Finish this race. He's been involved in a couple accidents earlier this year, and he needs to finish. Back up to you, Ken.
The engines have fired, and the man who will lead them down is in number 87, Joe Nemechek on the pole. He won this race in May. That was a victory filled with elation and also with sadness. Memories of his brother John, killed a few weeks before at Homestead. Joe Nemechek carried the day back in May. His mother Martha, his wife Adrian, his dad Joseph. This is a racing family, and they're all here to root him on today to see if he can do what Mark Martin did a year ago and win both ends of the season in Busch Grand National Racing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Charlotte. I'm flanked by 2 of the all-time greatest, Buddy Baker, Darrell Waltrip. Question to Buddy, you know, back in 1967, Baker won his initial Winston Cup race right here in this weekend's event. What does this weekend mean, Baker?
This 300, let me tell you, it's so important. The big teams are based right in the Charlotte area. The great drivers are here. They get a lot of attention from this race. Young upstarts, they get to test their skills against Mark Martin, one of the best in Winston Cup. This is the platform. They can escalate right to Winston Cup, running well here. They'll put their heart in it here today at Charlotte.
Okay, this morning looked like a fishing expedition down there in the garage area, Darrell. Nobody seemed to be able to figure out how to get hooked up and grab the big one.
Well, it seems as when the sun goes over the speedway and it shines on this fourth turn, it creates a phenomenon very similar to what I would call the Bermuda Triangle. Gauges go crazy, drivers get disoriented, and they have crashes. And that's what these guys are going to have to deal with, along with a lot of other things.
All right, we're getting down to race time, so get out the pickled okra, bring on the mustard. We've got a hot one here in Charlotte today. Starting lineup and the start in a moment.
The All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300 on TBS is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. By Econo Lodge. Spend the night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge. By Mobile Motor Oil, changing oil for over 125 years. And by All-Pro Bumper to Bumper Auto Parts Stores, the auto parts specialists.
Back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Econo Lodge starting grid. Nemechek and Dick Trickle for row 1. Defending champion Mark Martin and Jimmy Spencer are going to go in row 2. Row 3, Jeff Burton and Jimmy Bound. It's Gary Layton and Dale Jarrett, two-time winner on this track for row 4. Row 5, the world motorcycle champion Kevin Schwantz and Tracy Leslie. In row 6, it's Bobby Labonte and Joe Bessie, who just won at Dover last time out. Tony Stewart's in row 7 with Mike Dillon. Row 8, Buckshot Jones and Ricky Craven. In row 9, you've got Stevie Reeves and Elliott Sadler. Row 10, Steve Park, three-time winner this year, and Nathan Butke. Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin and Elton Sawyer ready to roll in row 11. Row 12 is Phil Parsons and Rick Wilson back. Row 13, Michael Waltrip and Jeff Fuller. Row 14, Scott Legacy and Glenn Allen. Row 15, the point leader, Randy LaJoie, and the second point man, Todd Bodine. Row 16, Tim Fedowa and Hermie Sadler. In the 17th row, Greg Sachs and Kevin LePage. Row 18 is Lyndon Amick and Mark Green. The 19th row, Terry Labonte, the 85 and 94 winner of this Bumper to Bumper 300, and Matt Kenseth, the rookie. Row 20, Robert Presley and Robbie Faggart. Then comes row 21, Dennis Setzer, Jason Keller, and rounding out the field, two-time champion and Grand National Larry Pearson as the field comes down for a start.
All right, let's go racing.
Now that row 3 got bounced back. Jeff Burton and Jimmy Bound both crashed after qualifying, so they're on the tail end of the field, and the number 9 of Burton is going to be fun to watch him come up through.
Yeah, he's real good. He said this car's as good as one he wrecked, and on the other hand, the Bound car, he said he's not quite that good. Boy, this is when your heart's pounding right here. The first few laps, you got to get the heat up in the tires and the track. These cars haven't been on the track since yesterday afternoon late.
Look at Dick Trickle take the lead as they start off turn 4 there. You see Nemechek fighting back on the inside with Spencer pushing.
Oh, Nemechek already got a tire mark on the left side of that car as they go into turn number 1.
Yes, sir. And Jimmy Spencer's probably helping him get that tire mark on there all he can.
Dice it up. 3 cars for the lead. Nemechek back on the point. Spencer into second. Dick Trickle lies third.
Well, that's a pretty clean first lap. Trickle looks like his car's shoving up the racetrack a little bit on him.
Yeah, he dropped back about 3 car lengths getting into turn 3 there. You can see him turn the steering wheel and the car would not turn.
Oh, we got trouble right here. Charlie.
2 cars off in the grass trying to get it back. The number 38 in trouble is Elton Sawyer, and going with him there was Jeff Fuller. No caution on the track. That at the end of lap 2 in the main straightaway.
Jeff Fuller has a lot of damage to the right front corner of that car, though. It'll take a little while. They'll have to work on it to pit.
We should be bringing it in for some pit work. Here we come, completing lap number 3.
You know, yesterday in the qualifying race and in practice, too, they were just having an awful lot of trouble off of turn 4 here. Saw some big wrecks here yesterday in the qualifying race.
Ken, look at this. We're looking back at Dale Jarrett out of the back of Dick Trickle's car. You can see how the cars move around as they start through the corner. Down the straightaway here, they maintain about 185 miles an hour going down in the corners.
150 laps the distance today down to the inside. Jimmy Spencer going for that lead up there in the triangle.
Boy, Mr. Excitement looks pretty racy today. He's putting that thing out front early. Had a good run here in May.
Dale Jarrett challenging for third spot on Dick Trickle. Here they go down in that 18-degree banking.
You know, Ken, the recommended air pressure on these tires is 48 pounds in the right front, 45 in the right rear, and 30 down the left side. And these teams will start those tires down about 7 or 8 pounds under recommended, knowing then anticipate and build up in the tire. And that's why these cars will go through some changes early on.
You can see the race for third there. That's Mark Martin trying to make a move as they start down in the corner. Dale Jarrett hung on the outside there. Trickle going along on the inside.
The red and yellow car, Trickle. Mark Martin, he's giving you these pictures out of the back of number 60 to win Dixie Ford.
You know, we saw Trickle at Dover a couple of weeks ago. He backed up. He was on the front row. He backed up big time. And in about 10 laps, here he come back to the front. So be curious to see if he can do that today.
Dominating car is the number 60 of Mark Martin. Meanwhile, it's Spencer pulling away by about 10 lengths. Then you see this battle back here in third. Mark Martin's got a handful as he comes across the stripe to complete lap number 6.
Well, Spencer's out front. He gets around this racetrack extremely well. He won the Open this year. He won at Bristol earlier in the year in this very car. So he's been up front most of the time in his own car here.
Dale Jarrett, not wanting to get covered up by Mark Martin, stays right with him. Third and fourth. Battle for 10th further back in the field. As they come on by, you got Joe Bessie. Had his first win over at Dover, and Buckshot Jones in that 0-0, that black machine there. As he wheels down into the corner, Elliott Sadler in there fighting for position, and Tony Stewart's in that group.
Last week, Joe Bessie passed Buckshot Jones coming out of turn 2 to win at Dover. There was a little bit of contact, they thought. Darrell thought. I said no. Joe Bessie said he never touched him. Buckshot did. Yes, he did. So we'll never know the
A very emphatic, right? Yes, he did.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to vote on it, so let's just leave it there.
Jeff Fuller has pulled on to pit road. Nose on that one, badly bruised after that shunt at the end of lap number 2. We're working lap number 8 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch Grand National in action. 4 races left on their season. Right now, Jimmy Spencer is out in front. Randy LaJoie out in the lead in the Busch Grand National point standings as they aim toward Homestead, and he aims toward a second in a row national title.
Yeah, he's moving up pretty well, Ken. He's picked off several cars, and it looks like he's moving pretty well. He always runs good. He seems to have trouble qualifying, but he always seems to run really well in the race, and that's really the mark of a championship team.
You can see Steve Park, the 3 car there. He was wiggling just a little bit. These guys may have a little bit of chassis problems the first little bit here, and then they'll adjust on the first pit stop. The main thing is to stay in contention and not get out before the first caution.
63 gets pinned on the outside. Tracy Leslie and Buckshot Jones comes down through. Here's Elliott Sadler looking to work his way up another spot. They fight a little further back in the field.
Yeah, I expect Elliott Sadler to get up there and really challenge for a lead later on in the race once he gets himself pulled up to the front.
Buckshot's into 9th. Sadler comes to 10th. In that scramble. Well, almost.
Hey, you know, Ken, it hadn't been too long ago when I didn't think anybody could outrun Mark Martin here. I mean, it just seemed like he was going to win the race no matter what. And he, of course, Nemechek beat him here in May, and right now Nemechek and Spencer both are out in front of him. So looks like Mark's lost some of his dominance at this racetrack at this point anyway. 4th in points. Phil Parsons giving us some pictures out of that Channel Lock car for a moment as they continue to sort it out in the early going. At the Charlotte Motor Speedway tomorrow, live on TBS. UAW GM 500. Don't miss it. You see, I know the thing I know. I said 150, 200 laps from this distance. 200 to go. I know that Mark's crew listens to us on the TV coverage.
Look at that.
Gracious.
3 wide down out of the triangle. And right on the bottom comes Greg Sachs, who won the consolation race yesterday.
And bringing LaJoie right with him.
Stevie Reeves done everything but hit something just then. And the 96 car there, you see him still running side by side there. He was really busy and in trouble.
Well, these cars are a little bit more forgiving in a Winston Cup car because they're not quite as fast, don't have quite as much horsepower, so you don't get yourself in quite as much trouble.
Look at Randy LaJoie here. He's moving up through the field. Michael Waltrip in the 21 there just behind him.
LaJoie under Stevie Reeves down the main straightaway, coming around to complete 13 laps this part of the field. We'll take a break and be back to more of the action Charlotte Motor Speedway. All pro, bumper to bumper 300. They're flying. With 17 of 200 laps complete, Jimmy Spencer's out in front. The pole sitter Nemechek back in second. Mark Martin squirted down the inside, picked up a spot, took himself to third. There you see that leader, number 20, Jimmy Spencer, working on another win. And here's the interval back to that second and third place combination, Nemechek and Martin, as they continue to wheel around this mile and a half. Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch Grand National Race, the prelude to the UAW GM 500 tomorrow. And here comes Martin down the inside at turn 1.
You can see Joe Nemechek early in the race here. He won't fight him on the outside. He'll get behind him and see. Maybe he's got a little better line through the corner. You really watch anybody that ever passes you trying to get an advantage.
Yeah, and right now he doesn't want to do anything to disrupt Martin because he wants to hook onto him, try to catch Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy is pulling away pretty well on these guys.
Spencer really hooked up. Take a look at that number 9 car. There's the car that had to go to the rear of the field.
Yeah, that's
Jeff Burton. Yeah,
he is now
really
in 28th position. Alan Bestwick can tell us more.
Ken, this car that Jeff Burton has on the racetrack now is not the backup machine that they originally had on the truck. When they were involved in the practice crash late Thursday, the team chose to go back to their shop, prepare this car all night Thursday night, and bring it out here on Friday and get it ready to race today. This car has led every race that they've used it in this year. Burton started 42nd after falling to the back of the field. He's up to 28th now, and that's despite losing a lot of ground when Elton Sawyer and Jeff Fuller tangled and everybody had to jab on the brakes that was in the back of the pack.
Make that 27th as he blows off McLaughlin.
Yeah, you can see that car doing pretty well, but it gets a little wiggly coming up out of the corner. I'm sure on the first stop they'll adjust on it just a little bit.
You know, another guy that's making big moves here too is Burton going by the 34 car there, Mike McLaughlin, is the 29 car of Sachs that won the qualifier yesterday. He's really making a move up through the field too.
That's Bobby Labonte,
yeah.
Team there.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte.
Dale Jarrett in the 32 there, pardon me.
No, they're looking good. Labonte's car is really working well.
Bobby Labonte, a former winner here. Look at that fight for 4th place.
That's a Pontiac that Labonte's in, a Thunderbird, and the Jarrett's in, and got a Chevrolet leading the race.
45 is back in again with damage. That's Jeff Fuller's car caught in that second lap altercation. It's going to be a long, hot afternoon for Fuller. We can get a little more on that story.
Well, these cars are pretty much what you see is what you're going to get now. They've kind of gone through the transition from where they started to where they're going to be, and guys are starting to talk to their crews now about what they want to get done.
Let's see if we can find out what the status is on that Jeff Fuller car.
Yeah, Ken, we're down here in Jeff Fuller's pits, and you talk about making for a very, very long day. He was involved in that altercation on about lap number 3, and they ended up hurting the car aerodynamically terribly, and they're coming to pit several times. They're making changes. I'm holding right now a piece of the car, which is the right front nose, the fender, and I tell you what, this makes for a very long day because right now the car will not handle. He's several laps down, and all you can do is just hang on, try to get some points.
Well, there's a guy that's hanging on pretty good right now, but he better not look in the mirror very long because he got a good black and yellow car closing in fast, number 60.
Mark Martin.
Well, Mark has really got himself dialed in. Jimmy Spencer having some trouble with lap traffic. Every time he does, Mark seems to close in about 10 car lengths on him. It won't be long before we have a battle for the lead.
Hey, you know, when you're leading the race, you're a little more cautious than you are when you're trying to catch up. So, you know, Jimmy is probably being a little cautious in the traffic, giving Mark a chance to really close down that gap.
Second place, Mark Martin in that Winn-Dixie car, definitely closing ground. We'll get an interval between first and second for you.
That's about 1.7 seconds right now. And closing.
Oh, trouble.
Big trouble.
Greg Sachs in the outside wall.
Yeah,
And that's Rick Wilson in the 75 spinning on the inside, coming back out on the racetrack.
Bermuda Triangle.
got him.
Turn 4. Sachs with a brand new ride. WCW car, which was formerly the New World Order car. Kyle Petty was driving. Sachs took over, won the consolation, started 9th yesterday and went to the lead. And put on a whale of a show, as did Kevin LePage.
I think he may have just had a little bit of help coming out here.
Looks like he got a little help.
75 car might have nerfed him just a skosh. What do you think, Baker?
You call that nerfing? That was a pretty good little drop kick there.
Yeah, well,
what you call that bump drafting, Baker?
You know, you usually have a bit different opinion than I do. We both agree on this?
Yeah, we agree on this one. Rick was coming through there, and you could tell that they were running very, very close. And sometimes you get into people like that by mistake.
Sachs was running 14th after he had started in 33rd position. We're at lap 27. Caution is on the track. We'll take a break. "29 laps, 43.5 miles complete in the bumper-to-bumper 300 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Prelude to tomorrow's 500th the Winston Cup. AutoZone race analysis quickly for you today. $560,000+ out here. 200 laps to be run, and the race record belongs to Mark Martin at 155.7 a year ago in May. Down pit road, some of the activity there. Let's go back and listen to what happened up here. Listen to what happened up here in turn 4.
Oh, that hurt my ears. A lot of that smoke was off the steering wheel, too. Didn't all come off the tires.
Some of it's coming out of his ears now, I'm sure, over
sure
there in the garage area.
Yeah.
Alan Bestwick.
Ken, just an update on some of the leaders that did and did not pit on this caution flag. Most of the guys at the front of the pack stayed on the racetrack. Randy LaJoie was instructed to come in if the leaders came in. They did not, so the point leader stayed on the racetrack. He has just reported in the early laps of the race his car's a little bit tight, meaning the front end wants to keep going straight up the racetrack when he turns left into the corner instead of turning left like he wants it to. Jeff Burton pitted. He got 4 tires, a little chassis adjustment. He's back on the racetrack. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Jimmy Spencer, the race leader, is reporting that he is too a little bit tight, and they're also going to stay out on the racetrack. But next time they come in, they're going to make air pressure adjustments, try to loosen the car up just a little bit. Jimmy's not quite happy with it, but he is out front.
You saw Jeff Burton's number 9. He is up to 23rd from 43rd where he started. Here's Jimmy Spencer, who won earlier this season at Bristol in the white number 20 up in front. And there is Jeff Burton on a roll. Tore a car up badly here along with Jimmy Brown after qualifying at that Bermuda Triangle in turn 4. Laid it sideways across the track. Brown crashed into the inside wall. So in this backup car, he's running like a blue streak. There you see Joe Bessie's car that just won 2 weeks ago at Dover, Delaware, the number 6 out of the state of Maine.
Todd Bodine just pulled into pits. He's the number 2 man in the points. This could be, you know, have an effect on how he finishes in the race if he gets the right break.
I think he probably noticed that the 74 car, LaJoie, didn't pit. This could be an opportunity for him. He come in, he got fresh tires. Maybe he thinks it'll give him some sort of advantage on the racetrack. Because it's not a bad time to pit, really.
Showing 30 laps complete. Actually, he's pitted twice in this period, so they're making some adjustments trying to get him a little stronger as we roll through this.
Yeah, that's a good thing about a caution right now. You can change the car around a little bit, and then the next time you'll be up to the front again, and that's what they're thinking about.
Here's how they're deployed up front. Spencer, Martin, Nemechek, Labonte, the front 4, followed by Dale Jarrett and Tony Stewart, having a very good run. Let's go to Chad Little.
Just a quick update, Ken. Our Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte came in and said the car's a little loose. They just gave a 1 round of wedge and put on 4 tires. And then also right next to Terry is pitting Mark Green. They started 36th and he's up into 16th place. He's moved up 20 spots already, so he's having a good day.
Ricky Craven is on pit road in the number 2. He's been back in 33rd spot, and this is one of his last performances in Grand National Racing. He says next year it's all Winston Cup, none of the Saturday events for him.
This is also his second stop, so he had some major chassis changes, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mark Green, speaking to him a second ago, he's up to 16th. You know, he's one of the 3 Green brothers, David, Jeff, and Mark, and He is doing a great job here up to 37th. Another Owensboro boy there. I might got to get my licks in because Squirrel started about that Maine stuff here before long.
See, you even get the state wrong. It's Vermont.
Vermont.
Oh, Vermont, Maine.
They're all the same to him.
Yeah. Woodchucks. All woodchucks.
Boy, are you going to get mail now, Walter.
That's what they tell. They tell me that. They tell me.
Guys, let's get back to the race. We got a good one going on here.
They did drop the green flag, didn't they?
Here you see Spencer diving out in front. Martin has an opportunity to really close right up on him as they come off that flag. First caution of the race, back under green at lap 32.
Yep, Jimmy Spencer pulled him out about a 7 or 8 car length lead, and there's Nemechek all over the back of Mark. Seems like it takes Mark a little bit of time, 2 or 3 laps to get that Ford wound up, but once he does, he starts moving.
Bottom of the body in 4th, Jarrett in 5th, followed by Stewart, and then we've got Dick Trickle hanging right on in 7th, and Steve Park is in 8th.
Now, Park's made a pretty nice move up toward the front, too.
Elliott Sadler lies 9th on the field, and Buckshot Jones is in 10th. Buckshot's got a car that's run very well on this size track. He's had a 4th, a 6th, and 7th with it this year.
Darrell, you made a point. You can see the 2 cars there, 2nd and 3rd right now fighting it out. Mark Martin in the 60 there, right on the bottom of the racetrack. I think he has his car set up for hot tires. It seems that Nemechek is much quicker on the first 8 or 10 laps, and then all of a sudden, as the tires start to give a little bit of the grip away, Mark starts to extend his lead as he starts to do right now as the tires come in.
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer seems to have the best setup. I like his setup. Drive off and leave him. look in the mirror and don't see anybody. That's the best setup. Of course, Mark was able to chase him down there a minute ago.
Elliott Sadler making a move right now outside of Steve Park as they come through the corner. You can see Steve Park's car right down on the bottom of the racetrack running very well.
8th, 9th, and 10th right there. Number 3 car is Park.
They get really, the cars get so bottled up off of that 4th turn. I think part of that is some of the guys can run off there wide open and some of them can't. And that causes a real traffic jam off that corner.
Elliott Sadler moves around. He's going to take 9th. Emporia, Virginia driver looking very strong right now. He's tasted success. First time in 1997 Grand National Racing. And Steve Park right behind him has 3 wins this season.
I think that tells you how healthy our sport is, not just from the economy side of it, but from talent as well. You got 2 guys, Elliott Sadler there and Steve Park, a great future ahead of them. Winston Cup bound for sure. And there's others out there that look like they're going to be able to make the move as well.
Indeed, Elliott Sadler down there at Daytona on the pole for that Grand National race, the Gargoyle 300 this year. Now take a look here. There's the number 74 down on the inside. The defending and champion and current point leader. LaJoy is in 13th position. He's been working his way up to 12th now with that move. He started the day from 29th, and he's now in 13th.
And coming right with him there, the yellow car there, that's Matt Kenseth, who has also come up through the field very well. He was in the what we call the hooligan race, the transfer race yesterday. He looks to have his car dialed in very well.
Another young talent too, a kid I think that a lot of guys have got a lot of owners have got their eyes on. So there's some great young drivers that are getting ready to make their move up to Winston Cup.
Todd Bodine is back in 28th position in that point battle for the Busch Grand National title to be decided in the last race of the year, presumably at Homestead, Florida. But LaJoy continues to build on that lead. Bodine's really got some work cut out if he's going to take that thing away.
Yeah, 230 points, 230 odd points is a lot to overcome in the last 3 or 4 races.
58 points a race about.
You can see Matt Kenseth, he's actually pulling down a little bit on Randy LaJoy, and Randy gets stronger as the race goes, so that means that Kenseth has really got this car dialed in. You can see started very far back in the field, he's moving right towards the front.
Yeah, we heard LaJoy say that his car was shoving the nose a little bit, and it does appear to do that off the corner.
This Kenseth is a fine, Darrell. He's the guy that had 3rd up there at Dover. He's a rookie, and he's come from 38th to 13th now, right in there behind Randy LaJoy, looking good.
Well, if I'm going to get in trouble, I might as well get all the way. He's a cheesehead, and he's from up here in Wisconsin, and a lot of people have told me to keep an eye on him.
Well, that's not a cheesehead here. You're riding with Phil Parsons down the front straightaway, looking at the back of Kenseth's car as they go through there. You can see him fighting. Kenseth makes the move underneath LaJoy.
The number 10 of Parsons in 14th. 12th, 13th, and 14th in your picture, and about to be a change is down to the inside. Kenseth's trying to take it away from Randy LaJoie. The number 17 shoots the gap and brings Parsons with him.
Yeah, Phil's got a pretty good car today, too. Phil's had great cars all year long, but, boy, he didn't have any good luck.
Ricky Craven falling back dramatically now, and more on that story from Mike Hogwood.
It was so loose, Kenny could hardly drive it at the beginning of the race. They tried to come in and tighten him up a little bit, and now Ricky Craven reporting that his power steering is going away. It's been a long day so far for the driver of car 2.
So as Craven backs up, good scramble right here, and Matt Kenseth looking better and better in that 17.
Dale, you said the 10 car Phil Parsons looks good. He's a previous winner of this race right here, so he knows how, and it looks like he has a pretty good car today also.
Yeah, Phil just needs some luck. He's a really, good driver and has his own team. He just needs to have some luck. He started the year good, but he's had a lot of trouble.
With more on the 17 car, let's go down to Chad Little.
Thank you, Ken. You guys were talking about what a good run Matt was having. They elected not to pit the last round of pit stops. Got great track position. They can go till around lap 65, but right now it looks like his tires are holding. The tires are very hard here in Charlotte, so it looks like they made the right move. Got some good track position. We'll see how it unfolds as the race goes on. Back up to you.
Number 72, Matt Dillon, is just in front of Kenseth. This continues to be a good struggle. This for 11th.
Yeah, it is. And, we constantly talk about track position. Even on a speedway this big, 1.5 miles, you'd think track position wouldn't be that critical. But you've got to get ahead of cars that are the same speed as you are on the racetrack. If you can do that in the pits, great. And that's what happens a lot of times. You elect to only take 2 tires or not take any, so you get ahead of some cars that you're as fast as.
Dick Trickler running up in 6th position. Dale Jarrett's right on top of him, and you're looking back at the Jarrett car.
Yeah,
in 7th.
You take the old man there, Trickle. He'll ride around there for a while, hang around the top 5 or 6, but when the day ends, you watch where he is.
That's how they look in the battle between 6th and 7th as Dick Trickle. And a former winner of this race, Dale Jarrett, struggle on the 1.5 miles. Charlotte, stay with us.
Promotional fees and considerations have been paid by Channel Lock, Lance Snacks, Duralube, and by Precision Gear.
49 laps, 73.5 miles are down. There's been one caution as they continue to get it on here. Charlotte Motor Speedway in the bumper-to-bumper 300. There's your leader, Jimmy Spencer, and right behind him, the Winn-Dixie number 60 closing ground. Mark Martin in that 2nd spot as they peel off into turn number 1. 33 cars still on the lead lap. You're riding with Mark Martin as he's trying to chase down Jimmy Spencer.
Ken, he's there. He's just about 4 car lengths back right now. You can see Mark Martin. Just a little while ago, Spencer drove away on fresh tires. Here comes Mark Martin right down on the white line through the middle part of the corner. You can see he is closing in.
Yeah, he's methodically worked his way back, inch by inch, and he's there.
Back into turn number 1. Go those leaders. Nemechek lies behind the number 60. As you see him coming down the back straightaway, a correction on that. That would be Bobby Labonte, right? Up into 3rd.
Yeah, Labonte's up to 3rd.
And Nemechek is in 4th. Yeah, there he is coming through. Your front 4.
And Tony Stewart is doing exactly what he was told to do, stay out of trouble and run some laps, and he's doing a good job of that. He's in, what's he, 5th place there, Stewart is. I like old Tony. I tried to land him myself and never got the job done. I sent him too many messages on television, not enough on the telephone to record.
Yeah, he is going to be something. 1995, that season in the United States Auto Club when he took all the championships. Knocking on the door, Tony Stewart, and thus far in this one, I think he's turning some heads. Good, consistent run.
Got Stewart, and you got Irwin, and I think there's some other talent in that run those midgets all the time. I mean, Mike Bliss is a real
I was
fine.
just going to say, Mike Bliss is about as smooth. He is fun to watch.
Yep.
Well, they were getting a little tighter down here for the lead. Mark Martin is closing in on Jimmy Spencer. As we work the 54th lap, Steve Park in that number 3 car up in 7th spot. He's going to be a comer.
Oh, yeah. He's running very, very well right now. He's just working his way up, taking his time. I'm sure Dale Earnhardt's down there spotting for him, telling him when to move and how to move, and that's a great help for a young driver.
Now, that's a real contradiction, Baker. Working his way up and taking his time, and you think Earnhardt's telling him to do that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He's paying the bill. He's paying the bill.
Well, maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the difference. Boy, don't tear up my car.
Jimmy Spencer from 4th into the lead. The number 60, Mark Martin, who has dominated here in the past several years, having a great day.
As good as those 2 cars are working, they still look funny coming off of turn 4. I've never seen the cars look so unstable off of turn 4 like they do this time.
You can see Spencer going high there in the center part of the corner. Mark Martin's going into the lead.
Trying for it, back straightaway, 3,200 feet long, and Martin's got him covered.
Well, you know, we're 55 laps here into this race, so tires, you know, they're going to have to stop here for tires pretty soon, aren't they, buddy? What do you think? Pit window, maybe 65, 70 laps?
Well, if Jimmy Spencer, I know how he races. He may have looked back in that mirror and said, okay, this 60 car is really catching me fast, Mark Martin. Let me see where he's running on the racetrack, where he's backing off, getting in the corner. I can change my line a little bit. I may be like Mark Martin. I may just run all over him as soon as I find out how he's doing it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. As soon as we're going to go a little further here, 10, 15 more laps, and then we're going to get into that pit window. And some of these guys that are running back here 8th, 10th, 11th place, they stopped at 38 laps. So if we don't get a caution here pretty soon, there could be a big change in the leaderboard.
Take a look, another look at that move by Mark Martin. Into the lead. The number 60 Ford goes down to the inside on the number 20 Chevy. And that's the 4th lead change in this race.
Ken, I want to take back what I said. It looks like Mark Martin's checking out right now. I don't think Spencer fell back there to see where his line is, but he hadn't got to look at it much.
You know what? I've never seen Mark Martin pass anybody on the outside.
You never will.
He always passes on the inside, right on that white line. What does that tell you, Baker?
He knows that 8 tires corner better than 4.
And he don't want to be the extra set, right?
That's right.
Another guy that I'll tell you is making a pretty good run here, boys, is, again, Phil Parsons. He's right there on Dale Jarrett, and getting ready to put a move on him.
You see Dick Trickle there. Steve Park has moved right in on his bumper as they head down towards the back straightaway.
And Bobby Labonte moving from 11th up in the 3rd. There you see the Dick Trickle, number 64, with Steve Park right there in the picture. They scramble in 6th and 7th position.
As soon as they get a caution, Trickle gets in, gets him a cup of coffee and a cigarette. Everything will be okay. He's not worried about the car. He just got to have him another cup of coffee and a cigarette.
55 years of age and still as tough as anybody out here.
I'm telling you, I've watched him race all my life, and I don't mean that unkindly. He's a great driver and a great guy.
But he does need a lighter in that car.
He does. He needs a cup of coffee and a cigarette.
Getting up to lap 60. We'll take a commercial break here with 90 miles complete.
How about Trickle? Dick Trickle and Shoemaker Racing Team going to victory lane. And what a smile, I'm sure, is on the face of the White Knight.
Ah, yes, the White Knight of the Midwest.
Number 99.
What a
That was his
smile.
number. Yeah, he's a great guy.
So there you have it, Dick Trickle in 6th place currently, but on the racetrack at the present moment, story is Mark Martin out in front with Jimmy Spencer in 2nd, followed by Bobby Labonte and Stewart up to 4th, Tony Stewart. So you've got that duo running in 3rd and 4th position out here.
Going to school right now. You couldn't follow anybody better than Bobby Labonte. Team cars running 3rd and 4th.
See, I think we know Stewart has a ton of talent. He raced the IRL car here and sat on the pole a few weeks ago. And the other thing is, I think he just needs track time, buddy. He needs time in these cars to get some familiarity with how they feel, how they drive, and what they do in a long race like this. This is the greatest thing that could happen to him as far as his future is concerned.
Absolutely. You can't buy the experience in a race condition.
You mean spurts?
Spurts, that's it.
You got to get that spurts if you're going to do any good in this series. Right.
English is not
Kenny.
a major subject.
Wait a minute
today.
here. Talking about experience, look at Mark Martin right here. He is really picking it up and putting it down now. You can see him going by lap traffic. They look like they're actually coming in the pits. He's running so hard.
Got a big piece of debris off turn 4 here. Just flew up off of one of the cars. I don't know which one.
Lying down here on the track, just in the bottom lane.
That'll bring out a caution.
We got to have a caution, yeah. I don't think I'd run out there and get it.
Whoa, there's Dick Trickle in the wall.
Oh, no.
Caution is on the track. And Dick Trickle's number 64 has found the wall.
What in the world happened? Did you see what happened, Baker?
We were looking at the debris on the racetrack, and
Down
all
here
of a
in
sudden
turn
the
4.
camera people were looking, and I saw the car spin and hit the wall.
See some smoke in there. Maybe it looked like maybe something happened to the engine.
The Duralube Chevy comes to rest at lap 68. Dick Trickle, who was running in the 6th spot.
Yeah, we were looking down here at this debris. You don't, Baker, you don't reckon that's his spoiler down, part of his spoiler laying down there, do you? Yeah. I don't know. I
Get
can't
a little
tell.
tighter. Maybe we can see if that's off here.
No, that looks like a piece of fiberglass. I think
Maybe
that's
off the 34 car. Mike McLaughlin's car.
No,
Here's
I think
Trickle
it's off
coming
of
out. It's off the
38.
38 car.
38 car.
Elton Sawyer's car. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Dick Trickle in the 64. We had some debris down here in turn number 4, waiting for the caution to come out. Oh, he did get a piece of the wall.
And he did. I believe something happened to the engine in that car.
And I think we came to that long after the situation had developed. It sent him spinning and sliding up into the outside wall. Leaders are now pitting.
Well,
Number
that's right in
60
there.
Martin.
This is right in their pit window,
Jimmy
65 to probably 70 laps.
Steve Burns.
And Mark Martin on pit road to the attention of Bobby Leslie and the Winn-Dixie crew. Bobby Leslie said they would make a small air pressure adjustment. They're going to take a pound out of the right rear. Pound out of the right rear, changing 4 tires. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
4-tire change for Jimmy Spencer. Radioed and told his crew this is a fantastic car. He can run up, he can run down anywhere on the racetrack. Handling great today. Fresh rubber, and he has got a full tank. Is down and away to Alan Bestwick.
Bobby Labonte goes in. Bobby stalls the car trying to leave. Going to cost him maybe a spot trying to get back on the racetrack. Stewart had a little bit of a slower stop. He's going to lose 7 or 8 positions. Jeff Burton came back in. He was set to go the distance on fuel with only 1 more stop later on in the race. He's going to have to come back in again now because they didn't run long enough under green. Lucky thing for Jeff Burton, when the last caution came out and he pitted, he had a slow leaking tire. That last caution before this one was a huge break for him. Let's go upstairs.
Under caution with 105 miles complete, 70 laps. We'll take a break and be back, reset the field, and get back to racing in the bumper-to-bumper 300 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's like about 70,000 folks out, maybe a little more. This afternoon, it's bumper-to-bumper 300. And here you see Dick Trickle's number 64. The fireman was pouring on the coal coming down the main straightaway. Let's ride with a Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin driver.
Darrell, there he starts into turn 1, and you can see he starts turning back to the right. That's just a loss of grip in the rear of the car there.
Yeah, it appears now that he just drove the car into turn 1 too hard, and that turn has a little bump that the car gets up over going down in there where the gate is there, the crossover gate. So could have lost the rear of the car, and around she came.
Let's get ourselves, after all of these pit stops, a channel lock pit roundup.
Let's talk about Stephen Park just for a minute, Ken. Started 19th. He's all the way up to 5th, but the oil temperature gauge on the AC Delco Chevy is reading 270 degrees. He is concerned. The crew will keep an eye on it. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Alan Elliott Sadler started 18th. They made a slight air pressure adjustment. He is now running 10th. Todd Bodine, we talked about him at the top of the show. He's having problems. He's loose, and they can't tighten it up. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Steve, Jimmy Spencer has told his crew it's one of the best cars he's ever had here at Charlotte. He says he's got the field covered today. Don't worry about it, guys, he told them. Joe Nemechek, on the other hand, he's been really tight. They loosened him up, made major adjustments on that pit stop, and they hope the 87 can now go to the front. To Chad Little.
Well, earlier we talked about Matt Kintz's strategy of coming in early under green, or not coming in under green. It paid off for him. He caught a caution, was able to come in and get his tires, and now he's in sync with the leaders. Back up to you.
And he's running in 19th position. Let's check the front of the field here, guys, as we get ready for a green flag condition again.
Yeah, you got Mark Martin, and we know how strong he is. I don't know. I guess McLaughlin either took 2 tires or didn't take any, because he's running second now. And our early leader, Nemechek, is right there.
Jimmy Spencer's up to 4th, buddy.
Jimmy Spencer's run very well all day, led most of the race up to this point. Mark Martin on real worn-out tires got the lead away from him, but he'll be back. You can count on Jimmy Spencer to make this exciting.
Steve Park to 5th, Bobby Labonte in 6th, Phil Parsons will be 7th, Dale Jarrett in 8th, and that number 9 from all the way out back,
Yeah.
Jeff Burton, he's got the number 9 in 9th position.
Yep. And Elliott Sadler's up to 10th.
Let's not forget Tony Stewart back there in
44.
11th.
He's doing a great job, Stewart is. And Robert Presley's first time I've seen him up there in the 12th spot, 47 car. And there's Uncle Mike, or Daddy Mike now. Got that new baby at home.
You getting any sleep?
No, he said he wasn't getting any sleep, but I don't understand it. Normally when you have a baby, all the guys that have babies usually win the next weekend. And he needs to pick it up here if he's going to pull that off. Terry Labonte, you know, the old Iceman, he's in 14th place there.
Now, do you really believe what you just said?
It happened.
Is this another one of those stories like the Bermuda corner?
No, listen, it happened to me twice. And just think about last year, Jeff Fuller at Bristol. His wife gave birth to the baby on Thursday. He won the Busch race on Friday night. It is a known fact.
Ready for another baby?
And now, let's see. There's a LePage, an 88 car. He's up to 16th.
You didn't hear Kenley, I don't think.
I heard
He heard it.
I heard it.
All right, we've got Mark Martin up in front, ready to bring the field down on that Ford.
I thought I'd get some respect when I got up here. I don't get any in the garage area.
Hey, I tell you, you're getting no respect up here.
Oh, boy.
Mark Martin going
Tough
for
crowd.
his 32nd career victory. Place him first on the all-time Grand National list. Break that record of 31 set by the Ironman Jack Ingram.
And here we go. The green flag is waving.
McLaughlin right there in second.
He will not stay there very long. I don't know how he got there. I didn't pay that close attention to his pit stop, but I bet you that a couple of them guys blow right past him.
Nemechek comes to the outside, looks on McLaughlin as they come through turn 2. Nemechek on the high side, McLaughlin down low. Nestle right in there with him is Spencer. They're 3 wide in the back straightaway.
Oh, yeah, Spencer's going to take that low road right into turn 3 and pass right on by there.
Excuse me.
Nemechek car, and here he goes after Mark Martin.
Martin in the lead. He had it right down below the white line in turn 4.
You know, that 38 car that was the debris we saw land in the racetrack when Trickle wrecked. Obviously got a pretty fast race car being able to stay out in front of Mark Martin like that.
75 laps, 112.5 miles complete. Spencer moving in. Boy, did he move in, too? From here, it looked like he almost bumped you into the trunk.
You see Mark Martin just drop over, let him go. He knows he has a race car to set up for long runs. He's not even fighting back right now. Drop the third. He's just following along until the tires get hot, and then he'll make his move back up front.
Jimmy Spencer back out in front of the bumper-to-bumper 300. Mark it down as lap 76. Spencer back out in front.
You know, guys, we got 35 cars still on the lead lap. And they are all back in there racing like they're going for the lead, I'm telling you.
Well, this Spencer, he is tough. Remember, Myrtle Beach came from 3 laps down to win one of these things?
Best race I ever saw him drive, Ken, was Wilkesboro a few years ago in a modified. And he did the same thing, came a couple laps down. Most exciting race I ever saw.
Those modifieds are exciting. Saw them up at New Hampshire National.
Look at Mom Nemechek here, waving her son home there. I tell you what, she runs every lap he runs. You look at her, she's watching him every inch around this racetrack.
Yeah, she's a great lady. She really is. You know, Joe's had a little baby since we were here in May, too.
Named after his brother?
Yep.
You see Phil Parsons there just in front of him. I believe that's Bobby Labonte is there fighting, coming off the corner there. I really can't see the car directly in front of him. Yes, it is Bobby Labonte.
Boy, Phil Parsons got real loose off turn 4 trying to follow Bobby Labonte through there around the McLaughlin car.
And just behind Parsons in the blue number 10 is that number 32 of Dale Jarrett. And then the number 9, Jeff Burton, who is still coming.
Yeah, he's in the hunt now. He's made up track time now, you know, starting in the rear. Now he's up in the front. he's going to be okay. That'd be the guy I'd be watching.
Number 9, Jeff Burton.
When you're hot, you're hot. And that boy's on fire.
.57 a lap down in that picture. Jason Kelly. From Phil Parsons, looking back. Jarrett closing down. Moving in.
Phil Parsons is running a good race, too. And like we said, he's won here before. He needs a win. He needs to going to lose that sponsor. So he's trying to find him a new one. And the best way to do that is to win this race.
Steve Burns can update us on Mike McLaughlin's number 34 that came out here in second place after that pit stop.
Yeah, Ken, the reason is they did not change any tires. They just put gas in the car and raised the track bar. He started 19th without any tires. He may start moving backwards.
120 miles are now complete. 80 laps in the bumper-to-bumper 300.
What a great shot there. You can see Tony Stewart in the 44 on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get by McLaughlin as they start off the corner.
Oh, got trouble.
Oh, got one spinning head-on into the field.
Tracy Leslie spins there. Wheel comes off, runs down the front straightaway there.
Mike Dillon's car was the one that spun first. Tracy Leslie gets collected. Knocks a tire off the 63. Race back to the flag.
Look out, Jimmy.
One trying to make up a lap.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Jimmy Spencer brings him across. Elton Sawyer trying to get a lap back as they came to the line.
Well, he almost made it. That's a great try, but not quite.
There, all the wheels are completely off. You can see Tracy Leslie there. It's the right rear wheel off this car right here. You can see right there the tire actually come off the wheel. That's it sitting right there next to the groove.
Down in turn 1, or almost into turn 1.
We had a car get up in the wall, and in the 72 car, Dillon, he tried to avoid that car, and he got sideways and then turned back out into the racetrack.
Third caution of the race.
75 car involved in that.
That was Rick Wilson.
Rick Wilson.
Going to work on Tracy Leslie's rig.
Here we go.
Okay, that's Rick Wilson. He had problems earlier in the race in the 75 there. He starts coming down. You can see him in a lot of trouble fighting to get control again.
And then here comes the 72 car. He gets down here on the bottom of the racetrack where all the dirt and debris is. Turns back up in the racetrack, and this is when trouble starts right there.
Oh, Dillon gets backwards there into Tracy Leslie to 63. What a hard hit.
All of this at lap 82. Lap 82 was when this altercation took place, which has brought out the third caution in the event. We'll take a break and be back with more of the All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300.
Hey, race fans, Budweiser asks, who won? May 28th, 1994, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pole sitter Mike Skinner in number 88 and the 32 of Dale Jarrett battled early in the race. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt in car number 3 was charging through the field from 33rd starting position. At the front of the pack, Mark Martin in number 60 was challenged by the 29 of Phil Parsons. But who won? Here's the list of contenders. The answer when we return.
The All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300 on TBS is brought to you by Channel Lock. Get a grip on life's little challenges. Get a grip on Channel Lock. And by Mobile Motor Oil.
Phil Parsons scored his second career Grand National win at Charlotte. Mike Skinner ran well from the pole, but ignition problems put him out of the running before halfway. After a magnificent drive to the front, Dale Earnhardt's engine let go, sending him behind the wall. Mark Martin ran with the leaders all day, but wound up finishing second. There was no other competition for Phil Parsons, who recorded his first Grand National Super Speedway victory. Who Won was brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beer. This Bud's for you.
Back with you live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch Grand National cars. Caution is on the track for the third time, and another look as to what happened. Talk about low-angle shots. To give you a look.
This gets ugly right along in here. Man, watch out. Duck, Baker. Duck. Well, the 75 car just gets in there and goes up the hill and backs it in the wall, and I think that's where that triangle is, along in there somewhere.
Here comes Matt Dillon.
Yep.
Down on the bottom.
He got down in the debris.
Mike Dillon there got on the flat where a lot of debris is. Darrell mentioned that. Gets into Tracy Leslie hard there, turns him around, actually knocks the tire right off the wheel. The impact was so severe.
Yep.
Stay tuned immediately following the race. The Road to the Championship. NASCAR Winston Cup action featuring the last shakedown, the happy hour here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for these competitors. All lined up over in the Winston Cup garage, ready to come out. We'll have driver interviews, behind-the-scene looks, anticipate some analysis from our experts here as to how they shake them out for tomorrow's 500-mile test. Here's Alan Bestwick.
Ken, I'm down in Dale Jarrett's pit. Dale is reporting some tricky carburetor problems. He says when he steps on the gas, the car never acts the same twice in a row. The crew's been thinking about trying to fix it. For now, though, Dale's staying on the racetrack and running well in the top 10. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Alan, Todd Bodine's having carburetor problems too. You see the crew working on it right now. Todd came down pit road. They raised the hood. He tried to get it fired, and it sounded real rough. He finally got it back underway, but they think they have a carburetor problem as well. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Guys, I'm down in turn 4 with a bunch of fans. This is a great place to watch a race. We're on top of an old school bus. Rick Brown from Thomasville, North Carolina owns this. And what did they do for the race today? Hey, they cooked up 150 fish that they caught earlier this week. They're having a great party, watching the game, watching the race on TBS. They got a satellite dish and having a super time, just as so many people are here to watch this race on these RVs down in turn 4. To Chad Little now.
Well, that sounds like fun over there. A quick update on Terry Labonte. Remember, he had to race in that Hooligans race, but he's having a great day now. He's up to 12th place. He says the car's pretty good, and you never know about the Iceman if the car feels good. Back up to the booth.
Looking at some of the waistlines on those guys hanging around that truck, I know where 70 pounds of those fish went.
Oh, they had over 100 people there last night. We got invited.
To the fish fry?
Yeah, to the fish fry.
Wow.
Yeah, they come every, they're the ones that are parked. How much does that, you've got a Newell, right?
Yes, I do.
What does a Newell cost?
It's
a lot of
very
money.
expensive.
That's
it's
a motor coach,
Well, they
folks.
have one painted. There's that one we were just looking at. They've got Newell painted on the front bumper.
See, I have no idea how much a Newell costs, but I know it's $10,000 a month.
Enough said. 87 laps now in the book.
And
130 and a half.
Look at that.
Now, there's the bus.
See,
Now, if you pull back from this $800 bus, you can see Waltrip's bus.
see, Baker said that's what Baker told me. He lost his when school started.
Oh, it's lost. Yeah. Now, there's the other side of the street. That's Uptown. But those folks over there in that Newell,
They're having a
painted
whole lot
right
of
on
fun.
the front. Newell.
They're having more fun than I am, I can tell you that.
Well, they've been there every year for about 8 years.
We had a great time last night over my shop, though. T. Graham Brown came over last night. I had a fan club gathering, had about 5,000 people. I hope we didn't keep anybody up over on Hutchpeth Road last night. We had a ball.
How long did it run?
We got done about 11 o'clock. Got done a little early last night. Started a little early, but it was really good for me. I needed to be cheered up, and T. Graham was there, and all my fans and friends and family, and we had a big time.
Oh, that's great, Darrell.
That
Let's go down and see if we can find out from Jeff Burton's crew chief right now. Alan?
How about Tommy Morgan, who just finished getting a pocket full of water from Buddy Parrott up on top of the toolbox. Tommy, you've come from the back up into the top 10. How does Jeff respond to the... what does he say the car's doing?
Well, beginning of the race, the car was a little loose. We tightened him up now, and that's the best it's been. We plan on one more stop, and we should be able to go the rest of the way after that.
Now, you were set to go the distance on one more stop after the first caution. You decided to come in the last time by. Was that strictly because the way the car was handling?
Yeah, we needed to loosen it up a little bit. We got a little too tight that first stop, so we loosened it back up. He should be good to go in a minute here.
Tommy hesitating because the ice water shower is coming again. Thanks, Tommy. We'll get you out of here before you get harassed some more. Ken?
A couple of laps to the 90 mark here. This last crash has taken some time to clear up, but we're about a lap away. We'll take a quick break and be back for the restart.
Promotional fees and considerations have been paid by Richmond Gear, Gould's Pumps. You can be a Winston Cup team owner and compete for over $70,000 in cash and prizes by playing Fantasy Cup Auto Racing. Call 1-800-877-RACE for your rule book or play online at www.fantasycup.com.
90 down, 110 to go with Spencer, Nemechek, Martin, Park, Bobby Labonte, the front five as we get ready to go green again. It'll come at lap 91. Field rolling down. Mike Dillon is back out here. I am determined to make him the sheriff of Dodge City today.
Matt, yeah. You notice anything different about the restarts, Ken?
Yeah, they moved him to the other side.
Yeah.
Outside. On those restarts, and that makes them the same in Grand National as the other 13 traveling series of NASCAR.
That is so important to have the rules the same. As you move up, you don't have to adjust when you move up to Winston Cup. You're used to starting on the right side after restart.
Yeah, one thing they need to do this series right here to help everybody is get the cars more like the Winston Cup cars. I know they're Thunderbirds, Pontiacs, and Chevrolets, but they need to get the engines and the cars and everything else the same. These guys are at a real disadvantage when they get out of 500 horsepower and step into 750 horsepower like a Winston Cup car has. And I wish they would do that. That would make this series a lot more valuable.
But isn't it going to carry the cost up to where a lot of these guys are going to be really disadvantaged?
I don't think it's the same engine. Probably just changed carburetor. They run a 390 carburetor on this engine.
Okay.
And if they'd run a 750 or an 850 like we run on the Cup cars, then it'd be a, it'd make a lot more power.
On the restart, Jimmy Spencer in front, Nemechek in second, Mark Martin in third, Steve Park in fourth, followed by Bobby Labonte and Phil Parsons in sixth spot with Dale Jarrett seventh. Jeff Burton.
What a great fight there. You see Steve Park right on the bottom side of the lap car there as they go in the corner, and Bobby Labonte right on his back bumper as they head down the back straightaway. We're riding with Phil Parsons down through here. Look at this side by side. Now they're moving back single file. You can see the 10 car there, Phil Parsons making a move on the inside.
Meanwhile, Spencer and Nemechek pull away up in front. Martin stays third, and there's about 10 car lengths between him and Steve Park.
So many things change. I'm sure people wonder how come Mark can drive up there later on and take the lead. But as the thing burns off fuel, the weight transfers to the front. Maybe it makes his front end stick a little bit better. His car's set up for used tires, worn tires, maybe a little bit better than the two cars out front right now. So a lot of things go into something changing in the car to make it run better as they go along.
Nemechek falls back to car length or two from Jimmy Spencer on this last lap, which is marked as 95.
See, a lot of you'll hear in other series people talk about, well, we did this on full tanks and we did this in our last practice. These cars pretty much run on full tanks all the time except when they get into the race.
Michael Waltrip climbing out. He's up to 11th, and Kevin LePage has worked his way into 10th. LePage finished second yesterday in the consolation round. He had started in that 11th slot and put on a great show with Greg Sachs. If you missed it earlier, Sachs in a big shunt here brought out the first major caution of the day in this race. He is okay, but that WCW car soundly thrashed.
Well, Tony Stewart in this crowd that we were just looking at, he lost a lot of ground in. He ran up on the back end of one of the cars in front of him. He had to get out of the throttle.
Look at Bobby Labonte go by Steve Park there, and Phil Parsons right on his back bumper. They're mixing it up here. They're not just riding around waiting on the end of the race here. They're racing very, very hard on every lap.
Bobby Labonte in the 18, and those cars are painted identical with Tony Stewart colors today. Look at this lead. Here's Joe Nemechek closing in on Spencer. He turns it up a notch.
What Joe Nemechek, he made some adjustments on this car. Jimmy Spencer drove away from him in the early part of the race. But look at the Foxy there. Number 3, you can see Mark Martin. Now he pulled over and let him go. Now he's making his move back to the front again.
He just knows, like you said, that his car's a lot better the longer they go. So let them run their tires off, and then I'll pass them.
Riding with Mark Martin back straightaway, working lap 99, coming to the halfway mark.
Ken, look at the steering wheel when he goes in the corner. I turn harder than that to get in my driveway. That car is really hooked up. That steering wheel is basically still as he's making a move here. At 190 miles an hour, you can see that car very, very stable.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, buddy. Used to, back when we had bias tires, a driver really worked the steering wheel. He jacked on that thing all day long. You don't see that anymore. You're very precise and very smooth.
Martin to second. Nemechek falls to third. Martin in the 60, closing on Spencer in the 20.
And that's the difference in bias tires and radial tires. A bias tire, you can really work the car, throw it around, slide it around. You just can't do that with radials.
Halfway this time by. Halfway mark coming out on the field. It'll be Spencer, Martin, Nemechek, Bobby Labonte, Phil Parsons, the top 5, followed by Clark across the stripe, and then Burton. Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton in 7th, Garrett in 8th. LePage is up to 9th. To 10th, Michael Waltrip, Tony Stewart in the twin car to that 18. Runs in 11th spot. Mike Dillon back on pit road. He's been in and out a couple of times in the last 10 or 15 laps.
No, Darrell, you're talking about the tires, how well they grip in the corner. When I drove Rusty's car last year in Daytona, I could not believe the way the radials really hugged the racetrack. A bias-ply tire, you'd move 2 lanes and not even worry about it. You move 6 inches on a radial tire, you're in trouble.
Yeah, they have great traction, but if they ever lose that traction, it's hard to get it back.
Pretty much a guaranteed ride.
Oh, look at this.
Spencer fading up to the outside, and both Martin and Nemechek dive down to the bottom in turn 4 to go into the lead, and Spencer drops back about 10 car lengths.
Mom Nemechek knows what he did. You can see her right there every time Joe Nemechek passes anyone. He's in the 87 car there. Every time he passes someone, she gives him high fives.
What happened to Spencer was, that's one of those things that you say, what in the world happened? He was just coming through there like I'm sure he has every lap. And he just broke loose just for a second. Had to chase the car up the hill, and there the 2 cars behind him went right past.
And Bobby Labonte is now closing in on Jimmy Spencer from 4th, and Steve Burns can tell us more about Jimmy Spencer.
Well, Ken, he's really not having a problem. They decided, they talked to their pit crew, and Jimmy said, I'm going to let him go by. Now, that doesn't sound like the old Jimmy Spencer that we know, but that is the plan right now.
Take a look at that move again out there. Trouble down in turn 2.
Whoa, trouble in turn 1. Another car in trouble.
3, 4 cars badly torn up. Among them, that's Dennis Setzer in the 43 that was running back in 37th position, running back to the line with Martin coming across first, Nemechek 2nd, Spencer 3rd, Bobby Labonte 4th. Major altercation. There you see the 35
that's
resting
Amick.
Lyndon Amick at the bottom of turn 2.
Young kid there that has had a hard time getting into Busch Series racing.
You can see the screen down. That's the way the drivers tell the rescue squad, I'm okay. They put the screen down to let them know everything's okay. You don't have to hurry over to the car.
96 Dash Series champion Lyndon Amick crashing lap 104. Here's what it looked like.
See what happened here.
Close quarters. They close in on a lap car, and they just make a little contact there. Amick hard into the outside wall there in the 35 car.
The white car, I can't tell what number that is.
That's Kevin Schwantz, the motorcycle racer.
Yeah, he actually crowded Amick up as he was trying to make room to get by that lap car, and they come together, and that's what caused that. And then I think Setzer maybe was just trying to react to what he saw and got the thing out from under him.
This is all down in the turn 1 and 2 area. Mark Martins, number 60, in front. Jimmy Spencer finds himself looking up from under now. 3rd spot. Nemechek able to sock it home, too, and go into 2nd place. Take another look at that one for a moment.
Now, this is where Jimmy Spencer says, I'm going to let him go by. This isn't really where I would do that. I don't think that was.
That looks like the car got a little bit loose coming out of turn 2 there. Mark on the very bottom, and you see Nemechek coming with him.
Yeah, I normally, if you were going to do something like that, we're going to let him go by. You'd do it down the straightaway where you could ease over and not lose any really track position. He lost 2 spots there if that was his plan. Sounds good to me, though.
We'll take a break at lap 105. 95 remaining in this bumper-to-bumper 300. And they sure are bumper-to-bumper down here in turns 1 and 2.
For years, Borg-Warner has been considered one of the premium transmissions in all of NASCAR racing. But what a lot of people don't realize is for the past 10 years, Richmond Transmissions has owned the T10 division of transmissions. Now, I'm joined by Kyle Petty, driver of the Hot Wheels Pontiacs on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. Kyle, 3 transmissions out here. We've got a passenger car version, a Busch Grand National version, and a Cup version. First off, what's the difference between these two?
This is your standard Borg Warner T10 or Richmond T10 right here. What it is, you can pick this up at any parts house. It's just a standard part number, pick up a catalog, order the ratios that you want, a wide variety of ratios inside. This is more of a racing transmission. This makes the transition. This is a Busch transmission. It's got a magnesium tail shaft, a magnesium mid plate. Everything inside is just a little bit beefier for racing purposes, so it lasts. But this one, the extreme duty transmission, is what the Winston Cup guys use. Magnesium housing, everything inside. It's got needle bearings. The gears are cut a little bit wider than what the standard ones are cut because of the abuse we put on them. And these things, you can't tear them apart.
Well, that's one of the big things about it. Over the past 4 years, no failures for the transmissions in NASCAR competition have been reported. One of the best kept secrets in the Winston Cup garage area.
4th yellow of the day, where you see the Setzer car coming in. The number 43, the Lance Snack Chevy, that got seriously cuffed down there with Kevin Schwantz and with Lyndon Amick's car. Those 3 in this altercation that's taken us to lap 108.
Dale Jarrett just drove down pit lane getting some right side tires. That could be unscheduled because he's only leader really that's come down pit road.
Another gander of what happened over here in turns 1 and 2.
Well, that's Amick, and it's kind of after the fact. That white car there, the 65 car, actually perpetuated that whole situation by trying to move up and get around a lap car. I think you'll see, here's the lap car down here. You're going into bottom of turn 1. The white car here at 65 moves up, gets into Amick to 35 and sends him sailing. Oh, and that's where our buddy Joe Bessie, he gets a piece of the 65 car as well.
That number 6, the black car on the inside, Bessie.
So, a chain reaction.
Let's take a look at the Winn-Dixie mid-race report on this one. 4 leaders, 6 lead changes, and the average speed down to 122 with these 4 caution periods, and 4 of the 43 starters have retired from the event. Greg Sachs was early out, along with Jeff Fuller, Jim Bowen out. Dick Trickle crashed hard as well. And it looks like we're going to lose a couple of cars here for sure. Dennis Setzer doesn't look like that car will be back, nor Amick's. We'll take a break and come right back. We should be ready for green momentarily here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Okay. Back with you live, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bumper to bumper 300. Lap 110 up on the board, about ready to go. Green. Field coming down. We saw some of the top runners all pull in and top the tanks to try to get home, but Nemechek stayed out. So he appropriates first place as they come to the line.
Ken, what this will do, the guys that topped off, they may have to come in again. I don't think anybody can go the whole distance, but they'll get a splash and go, where another guy has to take on a half a tank or more to get up, back into the business.
Let's talk about who came in and built up there just before they went back to green.
Yeah, the majority of the front runners did. I think all but about the first 4 or 5 cars did. Mark Martin came down pit road and topped off. I don't think Nemechek or Spencer did, but the rest of the guys did.
Did Bobby Labonte come on? I didn't think I saw him.
I don't think he did either.
They're the front 3 at the present time. And number 9, Jeff Burton, now 4th. Yellow, blue, and red colors right there, the number 9. See the 57 down on the inside of him? Yeah. Lap car, Jason Keller.
Boy, a guy that's really forcing the issue right now in traffic was Tony Stewart. He made a couple of really, what I'd call bold moves to get by a couple of cars there. He's back pretty far right now. I guess he came in and topped off.
I'll tell you, the guy making the bold moves is Kevin LePage in that 88. They're down on engines in that rig. Worn some out. Didn't get a new one for this race, but LePage has bowled his way through, and he's up into 5th spot in that black number 88. That was that move down on the bottom of the track.
Team cars sometimes do not do the same things on the gamble. Mark Martin come in. Burton stayed out there. He's up into 4th place already. He started virtually in last spot and has moved all the way up to 4th. But he did not come in and top off. So that tells you that even though they're team, they don't think alike as far as strategy.
Yeah, well, strategy right now, that one guy's saying there's not going to be any more cautions. And I'm going to, got trouble off turn 4 over there, or turn 2.
Bad slide.
I think
spin.
it's the 29 car.
Elliott Sadler's number 29.
There's cars on the bottom. On the bottom.
Boy, that was LaJoy that just slid by him.
Yellow is out again.
Okay, we're good. Caution's out.
Elliott Sadler out of 2. Went for an 800-foot ride backwards. Did a couple of 360s.
I don't think he hit anything.
I'm going to tell you something. When you can spin off turn 2 and all you need is 4 tires, you've had a good day. I was very, very lucky that he wasn't collected.
That may not be all he needs, but that's all we can see he needs.
Elliott Sadler coming around here after that wild ride.
Yeah. Nah,
the car does not have a scratch on it.
I don't think he hit a thing. That's incredible.
Had the right Saint for sure. 3 wins this season. 5th yellow has come out.
Wow, you can see him spinning off turn 2 there.
People,
look at all the people
just
dodging him there. That's a miracle. You can't see if you're behind him there. You don't know whether to go high or low. Normally on a racetrack like this, though, you try the high line because it's a self-cleaning racetrack. You can see the bank on the corner there.
Buddy, you see the rear tires, how they continue to smoke. He's keeping his foot in the power so the car will never really slam backwards into anything. He's got the power down, burning those rear tires off of it, trying to keep control of it.
Here comes Nemechek and everybody down pit road right now into the pit.
Spencer and Labonte.
Those that didn't pit, they now they have a second chance. They said maybe we made a mistake. Well, now they have a chance to correct that if they think they did.
Michael Waltrip, Kevin LePage, Terry Labonte, all on pit road. LaJoy coming in.
Spencer taking on 4 tires there. You see the left side going up, the 20 car there. Nemechek getting the left side tires.
You know what, buddy? Maybe they only get 2 tires per caution. So those guys may have gotten rights a while ago on that caution. Now they come back and get lefts, and they'd have 4 fresh tires.
We got people down there that can tell us we're having a little problem in the pits right now. We'll be back up to full speed before too long.
I don't know because I don't know what the tire rule of the day is, but a lot of times they can only get 2 on the caution. If that's the case, some of those guys are sitting there with 4 fresh tires now.
We'll take a caution.
2 quick cautions.
We'll take a caution here. That's number 5. And we'll take a quick break and then be back with more from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Bumper to Bumper 300. Now it's time for an Auto Week in Racing. Jeff Burton wins at Martinsville in Winston Cup competition. Charlotte Motor Speedway Wednesday night. After 94 times not on the pole, Jeff Bodine is back. New sponsor for next year, a new look on Bodine's team at over 184 miles an hour. He's on the pole for tomorrow's 500-mile race. A reminder to call 1-800-232-1522 for a 52-week subscription to Auto Week. That's just $24.95. 1-800-232-1522. 3 laps by since they turned them back to green. And the situation is this. It is Jeff Burton's number 9 leading the pack with 22 cars in the lead lap. Mark Martin has come to 2nd. Dale Jarrett to 3rd. Matt Kenseth, the rookie, had been in 2nd. He's just fallen a couple positions. Robbie Fraggart is right there in 5th, followed by McLaughlin 6th, Stewart in 7th. And they begin to shake him out here after this 5th caution of the afternoon and the All-Pro Bumper to Bumper 300 live on TBS with Buddy Baker and Darrell Waltrip. I'm Ken Squire, and we are having some problems, some power problems with the pit area, and our in-car cameras at the present time are being affected as well. So we'll keep it up here in the booth, and hopefully they'll make some repairs and get those gentlemen back on with us shortly.
You know, things are really heating up at the front, man. We got a great race going on here. Lots of cars still on lead lap, and a lot of guys still got a chance to win this thing.
77 laps to go, and they come by this time. Jeff Burton in that number 9, who's come from 43rd, out in front. Jarrett right there.
You look at Jarrett in 2nd as Matt Kenseth makes the move on the inside there. He's running very well also at the moment, but Look at Stewart on the very bottom of the racetrack. He's
44.
on his move, too.
Tony Stewart on that 44.
Yeah, a lot of these cars are faster that are coming up through the field because they made pit stops, and some of the guys that were at the front didn't. And so we've got some real exciting racing going on right now.
Stewart in 7th. One shot Jones right back in that hunt, too, in 8th.
It don't get any better than this. Mark Martin on the very bottom there takes over 2nd place. Dale Jarrett fights back on the outside. That's a lap car there. Jason Keller, the 57 on the outside.
Now, Keller got lapped down early, and he was trying to fight his way back in this thing, but it's not going to happen.
Watching Jeff Burton, who had qualified 5th. Then he crashed the car in which he had qualified, had to go to the rear of the field. And he's been nipping away at this entire group since the outset. And now, after this last series of pit stops, Jeff Burton finds himself in 5th. He had worked his way into the top 10.
I got to give a call to Robbie Faggart. He's in that 76 car, the black and white car. He is running in 4th place and doing a whale of a job. I mean, he just pulled around a couple of cars, and he's comfortably in 4th place.
There he is, number 76 Faggart, who won some sportsman races here at Charlotte, having an excellent day.
Yeah, he tried to make it in Winston Cup a few times last year, but just could never get the job done. But whoops, looks pretty good today. And there's a change for the lead.
Mark Martin down the inside. Burton giving him room, and away he went.
That car with 4 fresh tires on it, I guarantee you, he's going right along.
Yeah, plus he said, hello, partner. That's his partner there.
This is for 5th. Number 44, Tony Stewart, who won the midget, the sprint, and the Silver Crown Championship, all in one season. 1995, United States Auto Club. No one had ever done it. Cutting his teeth on NASCAR racing and looking great in that 44 as he fights with the former National Modified Champion Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin on the outside.
McLaughlin was way off just a little while ago, but he seems to have made some adjustments, and he has this car back in the fight pretty well now.
Yeah, I think his pit sequence was what was messing him up, because he didn't have good tires when everybody else did, but looks like he's okay now.
Number 44, Stewart to 6, closing on Faggart. Moved by Martin moments ago into the lead.
Yeah, Mark's right on the bottom. You see the 9 car. Burton push up just a little bit. That opens the door for Mark. And you don't have to open it much for that guy to come right on in.
Mark Martin going for that 32nd career victory, which would make him first on the all-time Grand National win list. Will we see it today?
I'll tell you what's really impressive here is the 9 car Burton, how he's able to hang on to Mark Martin with less grip in the corners. His car cannot be handling as well because he hadn't made his stops yet.
Jarrett in 3rd and Tony Stewart in 4th.
I think right now Burton is just willing that car around the racetrack. He has a strong will to stay right there with Mark, and he's doing it. He knows that's the guy he's going to have to race when he comes down the end of the day.
130 laps complete this time by. 70 to go, 195 miles in the book as they come sweeping down out of turn 4 this time.
Boy, I can't tell you how I draw up watching those cars come out of turn 4 side by side. Because, as I said, the cars have been ugly out of that turn today.
Matt Kenseth, the 17 car on the bottom there. McLaughlin on the outside, 2 by 2. I tell you right now, you wouldn't want to see anybody slip. They're out there running very, very close to each other. And they're running well into the 190-mile-an-hour mark as they start off in the corner.
And you got Faggart in there, and you got Tony Stewart. I mean, you got Faggart. Actually, I think that's Bobby Labonte.
Bobby Labonte.
Yeah.
Stewart's closing in on the leaders.
That 76 of Faggart willing to stay right there. The Concord, North Carolina rider. And remember,
3 wide, Ken. 3 wide.
There's Faggart just back there behind McLaughlin. He started 40th today. This is a great performance by him. Got to give him a second look after today. Had 5 wins in sportsman races here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway when that series was run on this track. There he is, and he's got Nemechek up on the outside of him.
Yeah, it just tells you he knows the racetrack. That's one thing.
Very smooth. Comes off 4. Here's Mark Martin.
Yeah, and there's a new player just behind them. Stewart has really turned it up in the 44 car. You see Martin there coming off of turn 2?
Yep. 3 wins in a row.
Right there. Tony Stewart moves into 4th, running very fast down the back straightaway. I tell you should have got on the telephone.
I saw he made his pit stop and got 4 tires, and he come back through the traffic pretty aggressive. I can tell you that. Watching him come up through there was making me a little nervous, but he pulled it off.
Closes on Dale Jarrett. Working lap 134 as Tony Stewart bears down, closes in. Can he make a run for up front? We're going to see, and we're going to know shortly. Back with you live, Charlotte Motor Speedway. 138 laps in this Grand National race complete. There's been a couple of swaps of the lead here between Mark Martin and Jeff Burton. We'll take a look at them right now. Just 2-3 laps ago. This move.
Darryl, this is a grown-up chess game. You can see right there. Burton takes the inside. Mark says, let me look him over here and see what he's doing. You know his tires are worn a little more than mine. Watch his pass here. Mark's checked him out. Goes right up to the back quarter panel, right underneath him. Now he knows where he's strong, where he's weak.
Yeah, you see the difference in those 2 passes. Mark just went way high and gave Burton plenty of room. On the other hand, Burton didn't do that. He was racing Mark, but Mark got by anyway.
Tomorrow, Mark Martin will be starting 3rd in the 500. He's currently leading. And that guy he's fighting with, Jeff Burton, he'll be starting 29th. And we hope you'll be here at 105 to enjoy it on TBS. Mark Martin trying to establish a new record today. His 32nd career win in Grand National Racing. Breaks that tie with Jack Ingram at 31. We talked to Mark Martin about what that would all mean to him if he could pull it off.
We'd like to win again. We'd like to break the record. We'd like to have all that done and behind us. We're racing to run up front, and that's the whole object of the Winn-Dixie car. We'll give it our best shot. We got whipped here last time, ran 3rd. Maybe this time we may run off and hide, or we may, run worse than that. Who knows? That's the nature of this business.
Jack Ingram is the man who has the record at 31 with Mark Martin at the present time. The old Iron Man who ran all over the eastern United States for years. Be something if we can see that record broken. Stay with us. We're going to know very shortly. Less than 60 laps to the conclusion of this one. Martin now drawing away from Jeff Burton. Has him covered by about 8 car lengths as they come out of turn number 4 to complete lap number 143. Further back in the field, here's Steve Park working on McLaughlin, bottom of the racetrack for 9th
place. Yeah, the other guy we hadn't heard a thing out of all day. Hadn't even heard him on the pit radio with Randy LaJoie. I guess the championship is on his mind right now.
What he's doing, he's looking in the mirror. He's looking back at Bodine. That's the guy, the only one that can catch him. As long as he can see him in the mirror, he's getting his job done.
Yeah, and Bodine's not that good. He's 22nd, so it's got a pretty good gap between him and Bodine today.
He's running LaJoie 19th. This is your battle for 3rd. Look at Tony Stewart out of Rushville, Indiana, doing just that. Rushing up to challenge Dale Jarrett. Only his 12th Grand National effort.
Yeah, but he better not look back either, because there's a white car coming in his mirror, too.
Jimmy Spencer, and I'll guarantee you he won't give any quarters when he gets there. You can see right there.
Look at him
Tony
close.
Stewart goes well there under Dale Jarrett. But look at the Mr. Excitement there in the 20, Jimmy Spencer.
He closed 10, 15 car lengths going in that one corner. That just tells you how hard he was driving that thing in to make that move.
Here comes Spencer up into 4th. Stewart is into 3rd. Retaining 1st and 2nd. It's Martin and Jeff Burton at the present time. And the interval between them, Stewart trailing the leader by 2 1/10 seconds at this point.
I have to say, and I say this cautiously, Jimmy Spencer has matured as a race car driver over the last year, probably as much as anybody I've seen. I know he's been doing this a long time, but somebody finally got the message to him. He's using his talent in the right kind of way right now. He's been driving some good races.
That somebody is Travis Carter. He's been in racing for many, many years, and he's the crew chief, owner, and everything else of that car. And I'll tell you, he's really made Spencer come around.
Yeah, he has. Jimmy, a diamond in the rough, I guess you'd say. And he just stayed in the rough a long time. He's starting to come.
Joe Nemechek back there in that 12th position. He's got a war going. Buckshot Jones is in that thing. see them struggling. Elliott Sadler still very much in this race after that wild spin we saw him in earlier. Kevin LePage up in there.
Terry Labonte, we haven't seen him much today. He's what was he at here? He's back in, I don't know, 14th place. 15th place, actually.
Third place beginning to heat up. Spencer coming after Stewart. Let's see what Stewart can muster.
Ken, he started off the corner. Jimmy Spencer looked outside, thought better of it, looked underneath. Right now, Tony Stewart is getting the most valuable lessons he can possibly get. He's getting used to the heavier cars. Being in an Indy car with his real wide tires, he has really had very little time in a car that does not stick quite as well. You have to drive these cars. The Indy car sticks by the tire alone, almost.
Two cars identical in their paint jobs out here. Bobby Labonte in the 18 and the 44 of Tony Stewart. The double dynamite tag team is having quite a day right now, and Stewart leading their parade. 3 wide. Mark Green, Owensboro, Kentucky down to the bottom, and McLaughlin as they put the squeeze on Parsons. And here comes Kevin LePage roaring up through on the bottom. That'll put him up into the 10th position. The 88. Oh, LePage in the wall. Hits Parsons. Bounces off. Slides down the back straightaway.
Middle of the track, middle. Going to the bottom. Good job. I couldn't tell you what in the middle. Turn 3. Good job.
Kevin LePage just taking over in 10th spot. Into the outside wall. That brings out the 6th caution of the day with 50 laps remaining.
And my buddy Phil Parsons, he's got damage to the right side.
Yeah, he got into LePage a little bit as they started off the corner there. They were racing very tight quarters, and poor Phil, like you said, he just has absolutely no luck at all.
Stays up in 4th, however, in the standings, like 16 weeks. Channel lock number 10. Here's Terry Labonte's number 5.
You know, I think
working his way along up through. He's currently in 15th. Here's another angle.
You can see Phil on the outside gets into the right rear corner of LePage, turns him to the outside wall there. Now, you can't really say whether LePage was going up a little bit and got over or whether Phil come down, but they made contact there.
That'll keep the hot stove league busy. Did he come up or did he come down?
Okay, Phil's as high as he can go right there. You see LePage coming up. They make a little contact right there. It turns him right into the outside wall.
Apparently LePage thought he had him cleared,
yeah, he
and did not.
Do we agree, Professor?
Yes, we do. You know, that's one of those times when LePage's spotter may have told him he's clear, but that's what you call giving no quarter. You know, neither one of them want to give anything. That's what happens.
Phil Parsons still out there with 150 complete, working 151 right now. And we'll be back to Charlotte for the conclusion of the 300 in a moment.
The All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300 on TBS is brought to you by Castrol Syntec Power System, a new kind of fuel system treatment that can improve acceleration.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
We're live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with Buddy Baker. My name's Darrell Waltrip, and we've got our folks in the pits back with us as we get ready to bring you tomorrow at 1:05 Winston Cup Stock Car Racing, the UAW GM 500 here on Turner. TBS will bring you all the action live 1:05, and you're going to see happy hour coming up very shortly. NASCAR Winston Cup UAW GM 500. It's going to be a dandy. We are showing 153 laps now complete. So with 47 to go, they're going to line them up with Jimmy Spencer in front, and Elliott Sadler will be in second, who had that wild ride a little earlier. And guess who's in third? It's the end of the race. It's time for an appearance of
the Iceman cometh.
Terry Labonte. He's here and ready. Third spot. Low angle. Look at that wreck.
Well, I think this
a
actually
quick look.
That was at the start finish line, I think, and I believe that guy just killed our camera.
Is that good night, Nurse, for the camera? 88 coming in on the hook. LePage fighting to get back into the top 10, ends up in the wall. And here's what happened out there on the backside.
All right, buddy, let's see if we can figure out what happened here.
Okay, 88 there is Kevin LePage. The 10 is Phil Parsons. They're coming off turn 2. Now, LePage thinks he's over far enough to make the move up towards the wall. That's a quick way down the straightaway. You can see him make contact there. Kevin LePage goes into the outside wall. Unfortunately for Phil Parsons, he also got into the wall and got a lot of damage to the right side of his car.
Yeah, but he's been on pit lane a couple of times. Phil has, and I think he's going to be able to continue. That's just one of those just misjudgments right there that takes somebody out.
Let's check on what's going on pit road. We're able to get back with those folks again, and we'll start with Alan Bestwick.
All right, Ken, the caution, a huge break for Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton. Dale wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it to the finish on the fuel he took on his stop that came back at lap 108. Not a question now, fuel and 4 tires for Jarrett. Jeff Burton was going to have to stop under the green if he didn't get a yellow within the next 20 laps. He got it. He's got his fuel and tires. They said they'd rather be lucky than good anytime. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Alan, interesting strategy here between Joe Nemechek and Jimmy Spencer pitting side by side. Nemechek came in and took 4 tires. Spencer told his guys, boys, we're out here for the duration. They didn't come in at all. Let's go to Chad Little.
Well, thank you. Down in Kansas pits, they came in and took on 4 tires, and he's good to go to the end. Up here with Terry Labonte, they're out of tires. They can't come in anymore and get tires. They have fuel for the distance, but no more tires. Up to you, or to you, Mike.
Well, Mark Martin was running a little low on fuel. They thought they could make it all the way. But when Jeff Burton came down on pit road, Mark Martin followed him, got 4 fresh tires. He's ready to make a run to the front. Ken?
There's Jack Roush looking on. Mark Martin gets ready to make his run, and he's got some running to do from 8th position. It's Spencer deployed in first, Elliott Sadler in second, Terry Labonte in third, Stevie Reeves in the pit stops goes to fourth. Then Todd Bodine is in fifth, the man that's currently second in the points. And back on the restart is LaJoie in the number 74 in 17th position. There's your restart at lap 155. Now the others we want to watch for here, you have Martin in 7th position. You have Dale Jarrett in 8th, Tony Stewart in 9th, and Mark Green having a good run in 10th.
Yeah, he's been hanging in there all day, Mark has. Been real consistent. That's what he does well. He's a real consistent race car driver. Well, it's getting close to showtime, Baker. We're down here with about, 40, right at 40 laps to go.
Look at this. This looks like rush hour traffic in the middle of Charlotte at 5 o'clock. These guys are really going at it right now. They're pushing and shoving and trying to get to the front. Like you say, it's showtime now. The dress rehearsal was over when that caution come out.
That's right. They got tires. They got fuel. They can go the ends. It's all down to who can pull the most out of the bag now.
Let's see what Martin is going to do. He's talking about how he likes to pass on the inside. There doesn't seem to be much running room down there. He's got to work his way out through. Right now he finds himself stuffed in behind Gary Layton. Lap cars, they go down into turn number 1. Martin may have to climb upstairs and begin to work that outside lane if he wants to collect Jimmy Spencer.
He's down here on the running away. Yeah. Keeping hard pressed. He only goes around the outside when he knows he's got a real clear pass.
Buckshot Jones, that 0-0 back there in 15th spot. Scott Legacy's 22 hasn't had a call today, running the lap down. Former sports car champion, giving it a good run in Grand National Racing. And we'll get some seat time in.
Boy, I tell you, there's some guys out there, you know, when you hear desperate people do desperate things, I've seen some people make some big moves and pulled it off. There's a guy in the grass down there going into turn 1 a while ago.
Stevie Reeves is backed up. He's in the 14th, just behind Buckshot Jones in 13th. Current points as of now, LaJoie with a big advantage. Prestone points for you if they stop the race at this moment. On the outside, Jeff Burton's yellow number 9 comes out digging. He's got Jarrett on the inside of him.
And he's got Mark Martin pushing him, so they're trying to go on by. Didn't make it. Ooh, whoa! Boy, Jarrett was a big loser in that transaction there.
He had a handful of loose laundry as he came through there. It was all over the place. .40 laps to go. Spencer drawing away. Gets himself about a 10-car length advantage over Elliott Sadler.
Well, did you see Burton? He got into that lap car, the 22 car. He saved it.
Legacy's car?
Legacy, yeah.
Alan Bestwick has a report on Elliott Sadler. That's second place, number 29.
Ken Elliott is up in second because he did not pit under this last caution. Not that they didn't want to. They were good on fuel to go to the finish. They wanted to come in and put on tires. But remember, he spun earlier in the race, put an extra set on then. Because of NASCAR's 3-set limit that you can change under caution, he doesn't have any fresh tires left to put on. So he's going to be out there trying to keep as much track position as he can with the guys charging up from behind him with fresher rubber on.
Alan, he's going to need tires. I'm going to tell you, he's getting passed over right now. Terry Labonte in the 5 goes by. You can see right there, that's the 18 car of Terry Labonte just behind, or Bobby Labonte as they fight around him there. He's at the mercy of the court right now. These other cars have fresh tires. He's on used tires. He'll have to give the spots up.
Yeah, he pitted on lap 116, so we're at 162 now. He's got a lot of laps on those tires.
Terry Labonte into third. Bobby Labonte coming along. Elliott Sadler, the winner at Nashville, Myrtle Beach, and at St. Louis, that new track just across the line in Illinois. We saw him win this year. He's not going to get a fourth win here today the way things are shaking out. Labonte brothers side by side at the moment. 163 laps complete. Checkers not far away in the bumper-to-bumper 300. .167 laps have been completed. 200 laps the distance. And it is a struggle out here this afternoon. We're seeing Tony Stewart in a great performance. He's driving the wheels off that number 44. Take a look right here.
Well, you can see Tony Stewart in the 44 right here coming off the corner. Very tight quarters as they start off. Watch the contact as they come off the corner here. Elliott Sadler gets into him. They brush ever so lightly. If you're going to hit somebody here, that's the way to do it. Just enough to get their attention, but not to turn them around and create a problem.
Actually, I think he's driving the sides off the car. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Mark Green right in there, too, at the bottom of your picture. Number 37, he's up in 8th. Terry Labonte is now in 7th, and Stewart has climbed to 6th. The number 44, Stewart. There's Elliott Sadler. Had that wild spin. And just by the grace of our maker, didn't get collected by anyone out there. He was wide open to the field, spinning down that back straightaway, and nobody got a piece of him.
Well, you know, we heard Jimmy Spencer tell his crew a little while ago that he had an excellent race car. And he's got a pretty comfortable lead right now.
Here goes Mark Martin by Bobby Labonte down the front straightaway to take that spot away. That's the second.
And he goes looking for Spencer. And he has 30 laps to do it. 30 laps to go. 45 miles to wrap this one up. Tomorrow, the 500 UAW GM 500 from Charlotte Motor Speedway here on TBS.
Oh, Martin just went right back by him. That didn't last very long.
Yeah, here comes
Spencer has him covered too, big time.
Yeah, he does. That's what I was saying. He's got him a pretty comfortable lead. I don't know if he can hold on to it or not.
1 8/10.
1 8/10.
That's a big lead. There's your race summary with 12 lead changes among 5 drivers, 6 caution periods for 35 laps today, and a bunch have retired from the event.
I actually think Spencer's actually widened his lead maybe a little bit.
Nemechek working on the bottom below Terry Labonte in the number 5. And they're still fighting it out for position there. Terry Labonte had to fight his way in the consolation. He looked like he was working not with the car, but the car was working against him throughout the conti. He got it in. He's doing the same thing today. He's just manhandling that number 5 up through.
Well, you can see Terry Labonte can run on the high side of the racetrack. I don't think his car is sticking exactly right, so he's adapted to a new line around the racetrack. It's a little higher there, But I tell you, he's making it work. You see Nemechek right down on the bottom. He's a higher line, but he's keeping RPMs up, so he comes off the corner pretty good.
Let's go to Mike Hogwood for a moment.
Again, at the beginning of our telecast, we told you about the world motorcycle champion, Kevin Schwantz, who started in the top 10. Well, he's fallen back to 30th position. But Kevin Schwantz told me before the race that the key for him today was to finish, was to run all day and get seat time, and that's just what he's done. Some valuable experience for the driver of car 65, Kevin Schwantz, as he tries to convert to a career on 4 wheels.
Ran stock cars in Australia for a couple of seasons, carrying that yellow bumper, the 1993 500cc World Motorcycle Champion. One of the best the United States has produced.
He's done a good job because I tell you why. He's real astute. There was a caution there a little bit ago, and he was smart enough to know he had to beat that leader back to the flag, and he did, and got 1 lap back.
Spencer stays 1 and 7 over Martin, 1 and 7/10 seconds. You have Bobby Labonte in 3rd, Jeff Burton in 4th. And you have Tony Stewart, another one of those stories at the outset today. In only his 12th race, his best previous performance was an 11th, I think, or a 16th earlier in the season. He is sure giving it a run this afternoon.
Well, that's, you know, it makes a car owner happy when you can send a guy out on the racetrack, give him good equipment, and say, look, put some laps down today. Give us a good, solid performance. Don't be a hero. Just get some laps. He's been able to do that and do it at the front. That's impressive.
Let me point out a hero. He's right there in the 60 car. Mark Martin has turned it up right now. You can see Jimmy Spencer just a little bit in front, right up there. He's closing in. You see lap traffic moving out of the way. Mark will be up there in a second. We're going to have a shootout to the end right here.
Less than a second. He's taken a half back, Darrell. 1.2, or it was 1.7 just 2 laps ago. Jack Roush looking on, wondering, as we all are, if we're going to see a new Grand National record set by Mark Martin of 32 Grand National wins, breaking the tie with Jack Ingram.
Well, he's doing a great job, and I think we're definitely going to have a shootout here. We're coming up on 20 laps to go, and Mark's closing down ever so slightly. Another guy, I got to say one more time, my buddy from Owensboro, my Green buddy, Mark Green is up sixth place.
Wow.
He just blew by Dale Jarrett.
Steve Parks back there in 8th, Nemechek 9th. Terry Labonte currently in 10th. We're going to take a quick break and be back for the finale. We're at lap 179. When we come back, there'll be less than 20 remaining. Stay with the Superstation tonight for one of the Duke's classic films. It's all part of Big Shots tonight. John Wayne in The Searchers. 8:05 on the Superstation, TBS. Got a super finish coming up here right now. They're working lap 183. And Mark Martin in number 60 has closed Jimmy Spencer down. He's within 2.5 car lengths as they propel themselves down out of that Bermuda Triangle. Here comes Spencer on the attack, looking for Grand National win number 32. That's Martin looking for win number 32. Spencer trying to take it away from him.
Well, I'll tell you, he'll have to take it away from him. Jimmy Spencer will not roll over and let him have it, but you see Mark looking to the outside. Spencer goes outside to close him off.
You know, Jimmy's getting through 1 and 2 better than Mark is, but Mark is really fast through 3 and 4. He will drive under him off turn 4 here, probably this lap.
Meanwhile, Stewart is back here in 5th. He's closed up on those leaders. He was 3.9 down. Now he's about 2.7 down. That's Stewart in the 44 and the sister car, Bobby Labonte, in the 18. Right up there fighting with the number 9. Jeff Burton, as we get to the end of this one, it's a war everywhere you look. Back up with those leaders.
Oh, man. Baby. He turned that thing just like it was an Indy car right there. He grabbed hold of that steering wheel and turned hard left there. He's lucky the back didn't come out on it. You see him going right now trying to get by Bobby Labonte as they're heading into turn 3.
Now, this is a car owner's nightmare right here. Both your cars running together on the racetrack for position.
The Dynamite duo are at it. Here comes Tony Stewart down to the inside, passing Bobby Labonte. Tony Stewart just not giving any ground, taking it back all around this racetrack.
I think Jeff Burton really, he complimented both those guys going in turn one the last lap by giving them some room there. So I think he can probably get both of them back.
Bobby Labonte lies in the tail end of that group. Meanwhile, up in front.
Whoa, baby, it's
Still at
tighten
it.
up. They're inches apart right now. You can see Mark try the inside, outside. But I tell you, Jimmy Spencer's going to get awfully wide.
Yeah, I give Jimmy a lot of credit. He's been running high on turn 4, and that's where Mark had been catching him. But he has put that thing down on that Mark Martin line right now.
Whoa,
Jimmy Spencer's dad looking on. Out of Berwick, Pennsylvania. Great old modified driver himself. Here they are, even across. Down to the inside comes Mark Martin. Back comes Jimmy Spencer on the outside.
Now this is where Jimmy could really, he just drove that thing in so hard, he's just going to make it really hard on his tires.
Oh, no, he's fighting back, or even as he comes to the start-finishing line, you can see these guys are not giving up now. It's a race to the finish.
188 complete, 12 to go. Jimmy Spencer, former national modified champion, takes it.
Martin got loose. Coming off turn 2, the back of the car jumped way out.
It did. He really almost lost that thing. That may be all it takes for Jimmy Spencer to win this race.
Spencer pulling away by 3, 4 car lengths. 188 being worked. It's a gut bucket race. Just put your foot on the floor and drive her into the corner.
I tell you, Mark's not one that really likes to get a car out of shape like that. I'm gonna be curious to see how he reacts and how he responds to what happened there, because that was almost an in the fence move right there.
You know, you hear all the time they say he took the air off the spoiler. That is not true. What happens is there's a turbulence on the right-hand side of the car that is not there normal. When that outside car runs in there and moves up the racetrack, it pulls like a magnet on the side of that car and turns the back out towards the outside wall.
Plus, you take the guy on the inside's line away. He doesn't have the room to let the car float out against the wall like he'd like to. You have to cut that thing to the inside a little harder. That turns that back end loose.
As you can see, he hadn't given up, Ken. He's fighting back, though. Mark's got himself gathered back up, and he's back online again. He's going to make a run at him again, I'll guarantee it.
Hard marching every lap. Jimmy Spencer has made 10 previous performances in Grand National this year, and he's finished in the top 5 times. Here's Spencer being edged out. Martin down on the inside. They slap paint as they come to the line.
Mark had to get on the inside off the floor. That's his favorite place to pass. That's the only place he can find.
He hadn't got it done. You can see there's a slow car there, a lap car. Mark had to back off.
That Mike Dillon, number 72, down there on the bottom. Give it back to Spencer.
Come on, Jimmy.
10 to go. 10 laps.
Look at him. Everybody, come on, Jimmy.
Tracy Leslie down there on the inside that time. Crowd on its feet on this one. Along pit road in the grandstands. And it's only the prelude to tomorrow's 500-mile Winston Cup battle. Jimmy Spencer stays there. Mark Martin tries to take it back again. 9 to go.
These two guys respect each other, but it's down to where you don't have friends, you don't give quarters now. You take what you get.
And Tony Stewart has come to third. The Rushville, Indiana driver has put on just a fantastic demonstration.
And if those two cats in the front get to racing side by side like they were a while ago, he could find himself in the thick of this thing, too.
Yeah, he's less than a second back. I take that back, 2.5 seconds to the number 44. Then about 20 car lengths to Jeff Burton and the 18, Bobby Labonte. Give it up. I think he's got a motor problem. He's just backed out of it considerably here in 5th spot.
Here we go, down the back straightaway, side by side, Ken.
Look at the left side of Jimmy's car on wheel marks all over.
They're fighting back on the outside, trying to get the back end of Martin's car loose again.
Over that rumple area, the Bermuda Triangle, Jimmy Spencer hangs it all the way to the wall. They're even as they come to the line.
Give it to Spencer. And he fights him back down into turn 1.
They want to know why people love racing. This is it, boy. It don't get any better than this. Two of the best going at it right now.
Jimmy Spencer, who can drive in any condition, broken shoulders, broken ribs, whatever it is, he just keeps on trucking.
This is when he's really
tough
at his
customer.
best. This is when he's at his best right here, when he's under pressure and you got somebody racing hard and you got to drive over your head and all your heart.
Mr. Excitement in capital letters today. Jimmy Spencer back around Mark Martin.
And don't look now, but that 44 car is creeping into the picture.
Yeah, down to 1.5 seconds back. It was 1 and 7.
Oh,
trouble up in turn number 4.
Michael Waltrip gets sideways, goes across the grass. The caution is out. It's a race back to the flag.
It is a race back to the flag.
Well, this is going to set up for even a better finish because the 44 is going to get in it.
Here they come down to the 7th yellow. Jimmy Spencer trying to lead it across. Does so. Mark Martin in second. This will be a very short. There goes the Michael Waltrip car right back to the garage area. This is going to be a very short caution. They'll check the track in turn number 4, and they'll get back to it. And Tony Stewart, the Rushville, Indiana driver, in only his 11th Grand National start, will be part of the fracas when we decide this bumper-to-bumper 300-miler at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today. Spencer first, Martin second, and then Tony Stewart in third. I'm sure you're not going to go away. 197 on the board. When they come down, it'll be 198. Green, white, checkers, Spencer, Martin, Stewart, Burton to fight it out to the finish. Here's what brought out that caution. Turn 4. As Darrell Waltrip calls it, the triangle.
Yeah, Michael's just going through there. I'm sure his gauges went erratic on him. He lost orientation, and into the wall he went. I don't understand it. It happens all the time.
You're really pressing that triangle.
He really is. That's his brother, Michael Waltrip.
I know my brother, that's something like that's what had to happen.
I tell you, I needed a break, though. I'm sorry that Michael had the problem, but these guys are going at it. I'm going to tell you right now.
I got all the hide rubbed off my hands.
Spencer looking for his first Grand National on a super speedway. His 7th win overall. The guy back in '94. One of the Winston Cup drivers called a nuclear-powered wrecking ball.
Oh, boy.
He's been anything but that today. He has been fantastic.
He has. He's fabulous.
And Tony Stewart walking a tight wire in a 40-mile-an-hour crosswind. He's never been this far before.
And it's only his 12th start in Grand National racing.
Well, let's see. This is going to be so good. I can't wait to see what happens.
Little racing history being made today and being shown on TBS at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The bumper-to-bumper 300 coming back to green. Spencer leads him down. Martin in second. Tony Stewart in third. Jeff Burton in fourth. And in fifth, Owensboro, Kentucky's Mark Green.
Yep.
Jimmy Spencer would like to look in that mirror and see Mark Martin and Tony Stewart going at it, but look at Mark Martin accelerate off turn 2 as they head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and that's really, Mark usually doesn't get that great a restart. He had an early on anyway, so he's definitely got the wick turned up.
Beautiful start. Here we come. Down into 3 to the bottom of the track. Jimmy Spencer.
White flag, 1 to go. If Mark's going to do it, he's going to have to do it in a hurry.
Jimmy Spencer holds her steady in turn number 1 and just keeps pressing that throttle.
He's pulling away. He pulled away a little in that turn.
I think Tony Stewart forgot to shake his tires and get the debris off of him. He had a miserable first lap, but he closes in now on Mark Martin as they head down into turn 3.
Mark's going to give it all he's got, but it ain't going to be enough.
Around they come. Final time. Mr. Guts and Glory himself, Jimmy Spencer, is going to win this 300-mile race, and Mark Martin still shy of breaking the record. He's tied it at 31 Grand National wins. But Jimmy Spencer would not allow him number 32 today. He fought him on every end of the racetrack. He fought him down the straightaways and wouldn't relent in that effort to hold on to first place.
Very clean racing, never any contact by 2 great race car drivers, just pure racing. Jimmy Spencer won today.
Yeah, he did. Jimmy Spencer, congratulations. You won yourself a race, young man.
Jack Roush walks away and says, wait till tomorrow. Wait till Sunday in that UAW GM 500. We'll see if we've got something for him then. Boy, it's going to be some interview with Jimmy Spencer and some interview with Tony Stewart after the performance he put on today in only his 12th Grand National start. Credit him with a third on one of the most difficult, tricky tracks there is, the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jimmy Spencer woes it and slows it. We'll take a quick break and greet him in victory lane.
Race fans, you make the call. New LCI residential long-distance customers receive 30 minutes of free domestic calling and the World Card Plus calling card featuring participating NASCAR drivers. Don't delay. Call now, 1-888-TEAM-LCI.
Jimmy Spencer outbraved them all. Climbs out. First super speedway win in a Grand National car. Take the applause, Jimmy. You deserve it. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And Jimmy Spencer, what a battle with Mark Martin. Man, what a race.
We had one great race in Texas, and Mark beat me. Raced him the same way he raced me today. I ended up coming out on top today. I just got to thank Mark. He's a gentleman. There's no question through and through. I'll tell you, Zippo's made it possible for us. All year long, we won for Zippo, and it's ironic. We got All Pro Auto Parts bumper-to-bumper sponsoring our car, and that's the race. Real special for it. I owe a lot to T&L Motors. Had a good car in the spring and the motor blew up, but ran really good today, flawless today. And I think really that helped us win the race. And I'll tell you, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo has been an awesome car for us this year. There's no question. Looking forward to getting back to Miami with the Zippo car again.
Jimmy, I know your whole family's here, your wife, your kids. We have a great shot of your dad. He was on pit road cheering you guys on. A great win.
It really is. I'll tell you,
pretty gutsy not to change tires there.
Our car was really good on old tires, and Mark was really good too. But I figured if I had track position, I could beat him, and I did. And I can't say enough. You know, RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company announced something special here Wednesday night. We got Winston on our car next year. It's going to be the No Bull car. I took No Bull today, so maybe that's a sign of things to come for the Winston car. But I really want to say, you know, the Chevrolet car ran so strong, so strong. And it's great to beat Mark because he's the toughest guy in the super speedways.
Jimmy, what was your strategy in holding Mark off in the driver's seat? What were you thinking?
Well, if I drove in the corners too deep and just give him a run at me, then he'd beat me. And I knew he had better tires and he'd get a better run at me coming in and getting off. And I just slowed down a little bit and got right against him so that he couldn't get no air on his car. And once I knew that I could get the air off of his nose onto my nose there underneath me, it actually would free his car up and it hurt him a little bit. If I would have drove in there and years ago, I would have done that, drove in there and lost. But the older you get, the smarter you get. So that worked today.
Okay, I heard that. Let's go to Alan Bestwick with Mark Martin.
All right, we're walking with Mark towards his Valvoline Ford. Mark, an exciting finish. How was Jimmy able to keep in front of you when you got underneath him there lap after lap?
He was fast, man. He was running good. He was fast, and we needed more time than that. As good as he was running, I needed some time.
You got up underneath him with about 12 to go. On off of turn 2, it looked like your car had a real serious wiggle. Did that make you think about how you had to reevaluate how you had to get around him?
No, we were just racing hard, and you know, I didn't beat him. You know, it's not if this or if that. The real deal is Jimmy Spencer earned it. He won it. It was a great race, and he ought to be proud of it. We couldn't pull it off today under the circumstances. We had a good car and made a show of it, but we couldn't win.
It was a very exciting finish. Thank you, Mark. Mark Martin, the runner-up today.
Wow. That was some exciting race today. What do you think, Mr. Waltrip? What do you think, Mr. Baker?
Don't you just love Mark Martin? He never makes excuses. I mean, he said Jimmy Spencer today beat us. He didn't come on why, and cry. That's a champion. When you can get out and say, I got beat today, wait till next time.
And next time, very well, you'll be a guy named Tony Stewart knocking on the door, Darrell.
Yeah, we've had some great rookie runs here today. Mark Green and Park, and you know, a lot of good guys that don't usually run at the front got good finishes today.
Happy hour coming up. We're going to wrap up this 300 right after these messages. So stay with us here on TBS. Coverage from the Charlotte Motor Speedway of this fall Festival of Speed.
The All-Pro Bumper-to-Bumper 300 on TBS is brought to you by Pennzoil Motor Oil. Stop, go, Pennzoil. By True Value, official hardware store of NASCAR and garages everywhere. By Peerless Faucet, get more out of your faucet than just water. And by Prestone Antifreeze. Protect your car in the Prestone zone.
Stay tuned. Immediately following this race, the Road to the Championship NASCAR Winston Cup final shakedown for tomorrow's 500s right here. We'll have driver interviews, take you behind the scenes, give you the feel of what it's like as they get ready for another Winston Cup moment tomorrow here at the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, let's go to the guy who gave us some of the most exciting racing of the day and some of the biggest surprises. Mike Hogwood's with him.
Tony Stewart, we're talking about third place finish. What were you thinking about on those final 2 laps, Tony?
Don't make any mistakes. You know, these Winston Cup guys are sharp and they know what to do on the restarts. And, you know, I would have never dreamed we would have been in that position at the end of the race, let alone, you know, try to have a shot to win the thing.
Any comparison of these NASCAR cars to the IRL where you're about to win a championship?
None whatsoever. You know, these cars, they're kind of the opposite end of the spectrum of an Indy car. You know, they're just different beasts. And I guess with the help of Bobby Labonte and everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing with Shell and Pontiac, it's you know, we've got a lot of good tools there to do learning with, and that's what we wanted to do today, was just finish the race and get 200 laps in.
Tony, great run today. Ken, back to you.
Yeah, there's a star of the future for sure. He's going to win that Indy championship next time out. That Steve Park is coming on. As Darrell said at the outset, buddy, you've got some great, oh, yes, and a kid from Owensboro, Kentucky, too. Mark Green had a great
Buckshot
day.
Jones finished 10th.
I'm going to tell you something else. Jeff Gordon's going to get an eye full of Tony Stewart before this is all over with.
Jimmy Spencer wins it over Martin. Stewart, the rookie, in third. And you've got Jeff Burton, Mark Green in there, Steve Park, great young names, Buckshot Jones in 10th. Look a little further back. There you've got that Matt Kenseth, third last time out at Dover. And McLaughlin, Sadler up to 14th. Randy LaJoie, the point leader, finishes in 15th when this one's over. Todd Bodine back there on the top.
Yeah, he finished 20th, and that's about, I guess, a 15-point gain there for LaJoie. So he just adds to that point lead just a little wee bit more.
Well, he did what he had to do. He kept him in the mirror. As long as LaJoie finishes ahead, he's going to get that national championship. Very smart guy now.
Yeah, this is the first race I think I've done that LaJoie was not a factor. I mean, he's been a factor everywhere we've been this year.
So the point standings as we go to those final races of the season. It's LaJoie in front, and it's by 246 that he leads Todd Bodine. And there's Steve Park, the kid that's won 3 races. Phil Parsons and Elliott Sadler in that top 5. Hey, that's going to do it for the Bumper to Bumper 300 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tomorrow, it's the UAW GM 500 upcoming. The greatest stars in racing in the world today. The Winston Cup stars are out for happy hour. That final shakedown, we'll bring it to you. For Steve Burns, Alan Bestwick, Mike Hogwood, and Chad Little, thanks so much for spending part of your day with us.